Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Joe Hunk. The first rounds of cuts are supposed to be happening for the Tennessee Titans, and we're going to have that at any moment now. So continue listening to 104.5 The Zone the moment that those drops. I know that the Titans are getting ready for the Bucs, but when it comes to their week one opponent, the New York Jets, you may or may not have Daniel Jones at quarterback. The New York Giants are reportedly trying Tyrod Taylor with giving him some first team reps today, according to Brian Dable. He says that Daniel Jones still is the QB1, but we will see. Remember, Tyrod Taylor is the one that beat the Titans for the Texans last season at Nissan Stadium. And for all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yo, what up, Nashville? 3HL is on the air. It is a dark studio. Not that that means anything to you, but John Davenport is on assignment. So it's just me and Slay Dog.
Lights off, mask on, creep silent. Your life's gone. We done made your block
A lot of
silent.
singing, man. Every room I go in, somebody's singing.
Hey, Gordy on done set the tone for me, man. So listen, it's always the spookiest before it's the light.
What?
That means it's cuts.
It is cut day.
Spooky day.
Literally this second, it's cut day.
That's right. So
here are the roster moves. So everybody's got to get down to they've got to cut 5 people. Is that how cut day works? Yeah. This from Jim Wyatt. The Tennessee Titans have parted ways with 5 players.
Ooh.
Offensive lineman Carson Green.
Ooh.
Defensive back Deontay Burton.
Ooh.
Defensive lineman Haskell Garrett.
Ooh.
Running back Jordan Wilkins. And wide receiver Josh Malone. What the hell? Come on, man. What are we doing here?
Turn the lights on.
Former Vol wide receiver Josh Malone.
It's over.
That is so dumb.
Thank you. Hey, man.
Josh, if you listen, it ain't over. Don't listen to Slay.
I'm saying over for me at the time.
That took a left turn
Yeah,
quickly.
that's not what it meant. That's
That's
my guy.
The man's career.
That's my guy. He knows my guy. I'm cheering for him, but I'm saying over for me. I'm saying the spooky hours is over.
No more spooky?
Spooky is over to the
I
next.
kind of liked it with the dark.
That's pretty cool.
We
wasn't it?
just started that.
What-
This is the
That's
first
a
day
new
of
one.
cuts.
That's right.
Yeah.
Spooky hours.
They'll cut some more guys next week.
Well, we'll be back in spooky time. Bab's gonna lose her mind doing spooky time.
Don Davenport will not know how to handle spooky time.
At all. Mm-mm.
So we'll have all the cuts as they come down, notable names. Robert Kindici cut from the San Francisco 49ers. That's one. So as they come through the Twitter feed, we'll let you know. Brent Doherty with you.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beautiful day in the Music City. It is, Slay. Did your feet hit the ground this morning?
Oh, without question.
Beautiful day in the Music City.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Dawn is not here.
Babsy's not here.
I'm telling you right now, I'm in a really, really high octane mental state. I don't know why. It's like,
You're on your.
have you ever seen the movie Beautiful Mind where he can like see the numbers?
Yes.
That's where I am right now.
Tom Cruise?
There was a Brett. No, it was
it's Russell Crowe.
It was Gladiator.
Yeah.
Gladiator.
Maximus.
That ain't better than me saying Tom Cruise Gladiator. Like,
Yeah, Maximus.
Yes.
He was in
not,
Beautiful
it's Russell
Mind.
Crowe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the film where
I
he
didn't
got
go
all
see
mad and threw the phone at somebody in the hotel, remember?
Really?
Yes.
I gotta go
I
back
think
to see
that's true.
He gained a bunch of weight for that movie, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a movie called, and Slay helped me with the title of this, because I was like, there's a Bradley Cooper movie where
Limitless.
Limitless, where he takes a drug that makes him see things exceptionally clearly.
True story. That's how I feel every morning when I take my Adderall. I'm not even kidding. The moment I take it, it's like my mind opens up. And I'm like, we are good to go for the day.
I didn't take anything. I'll tell you this, though. I did not have any alcohol yesterday. Maybe that's part of it.
Your clear mind.
Did you have enough for both of us over at Shark Got Wings?
You better believe it. You better believe it. Hey, man, great atmosphere, man. Y'all got to come out there and catch the vibes with me, man. 6 to 10 every Monday, man. You know,
Every Monday, you hang out
I'm gonna be out
6
there.
to 10.
No, well, I don't go to 10.
Oh.
So that's why I'm saying you got to go on and get there because I'm in there about 7:45, 8:15,
Until the moment
till
hits
about
you.
8:15. Then I got to roll.
Chris calls you like, hey,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, LeRon like to see me before he go to sleep. So
Oh, isn't that sweet?
that's my boy. Yep.
Do you have story time with Lil Ron? Do you ever do that?
No. Mm-mm. We ain't got time for that, man. That's what the TV for.
Bro, you got to read, man.
No, we read, but we ain't not doing when he finna go to sleep. Go on to sleep.
Never
Good night.
tease a weasel.
You
That was
know-
ours last night.
Good Night Moon.
No, that's what it means.
Good Night Moon will make you cry.
Oh.
If you never read it, like it'll get you all emotional.
Moon! Where you at, Moon?
'Twas a Night Before Christmas. That'll make you cry. That'll get you all emotional. He is Ron Slay.
I'm in the building. I'm in the building.
Most definitely in the
Hey,
building.
I'm in the building. I'm in the building. I'm in the building. I'm in the building.
Five Titans are not in the building.
Yeah, man.
What do they do? Like they get cut and then do what? Like
Hang around. Gotta hang around.
go shoot some hoops or something?
No, you gotta stay on standby. Listen,
You do have to stay on standby.
man. You better
Because
be,
some other guys could get cut and then
you
they
better
bring you
stay in
right back.
the same practice schedule.
Like
Mind frame.
Josh Palmer could be one of those dudes that gets called back.
Malone too.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Malone. Who's Josh Palmer?
We're gonna pick Palmer up. No, he out
the
there.
Chargers.
Yeah, we're gonna get him immediately.
All the Joshes. Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, but
Who played well the other day.
yes, he did.
You broke down the Colts game, but Josh Dobbs for the Browns, like, hey, Deshaun didn't look good.
No, look, Deshaun looked bad. No, Deshaun looked like he ain't played football in 2 years.
Which is true.
Right.
Okay.
Year and a half.
Well, it's going to be some more time. Josh
Yes,
Malone,
it is.
yes. Josh Malone, hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Stay there. Because guess what? You got to stay in that same mind frame, man, of practicing and everything. Because you don't want to be called the next day and you done got lazy. You working out once a day. And, man, nah, you got to stay tip-top, man. Your number can always be called. Always easier to be ready and stay ready than it is to get ready.
And that's
Getting ready to
important. Like,
stay.
I mean, you kind of went through that. Like, you're waiting for that call, right?
Yep.
And you've got to stay on point.
Yes, you do. Because especially if you don't have – the good thing he has in his favor, and football is a tad bit different than basketball. If
Yeah.
you got a resume,
Yeah.
you know, you can kind of lean on it. Like, if we get him in here, he's going to be a vet. He's going to bring that status to us and bring a good experience to the locker room. But if you don't have that, man, you got to hit the ground flying at 100 miles per hour. Ain't no work your way in, learn to play. Man, you going to go 100 miles per hour the wrong way if need be. But just go. So you got to be in shape to do that. Conditioning is huge.
Coming up today on the show, we have a special guest who's in town.
Who's that? Who, yo?
Todd Fuhrman
Furminator.
is in town.
Okay.
So here's my question.
Okay.
We're going to send an Uber over to get him. What should we send Todd? Like, should we get like an Uber Black or should we get like just whatever the cheapest thing is?
Or should we bring back like Bill's cab? You remember
Yeah.
Bill's cab, the brown cab? Bring that back. Or should we get like a park and ride bus to go pick him up? Which just stop a million times.
What about Rich downstairs gets on a scooter and then has another scooter with him and he rides over to the where Todd is?
Yeah.
Because he's close.
Yeah.
He's not far from here.
Yeah, all they got to tell me, hey, listen, I already scanned it for you. It's ready, charged up, ready.
I thought you were going to say Rich gets on the scooter and Todd just has to hop on his back.
No,
Dude,
Todd
we
might
were
not need
outside
to
one
go.
day. We saw a couple of construction dudes on one scooter.
Yep.
I didn't know what to think about it. Like, I thought it was really cool and nice of, like, I guess both of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, but
right.
then I thought it also looked kind of weird, but that's
They were
fine.
ducking signs. They tucked that sign outside, the crosswalk sign. Almost hit one of them in the head.
Well, because the guy in front sees the sign. Like, he has clear sign advantage, right? Like, so he ducks his head. If he doesn't say anything, that leaves my man exposed.
Yes, it does. Duck. You don't do. It'd be like Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, you
Like
don't
me and you, we should go ride around town on a scooter.
No, we shouldn't.
Just let people take pictures of us
No,
and
we should
videotape
not.
us.
No, we should not. I'm too big to be on the scooter.
Fire Todd Downing just tweeted us.
Who? Darn. And talking.
Listen, man, if you're not getting hated, you're not doing your job.
That's very true.
At the RHL 1045. Just saw this during your Titans Cut Day update from Jay Wyatt Sports. Hashtag Tighten Up. And it's a truck, and there's a window sticker on the back window of Jason with the hockey mask with blood on his face.
Cut Day. Hey, man, hey, listen. That's how I creep up on you, too. Thankfully, I've never had to be a part of that process, man. Lord have mercy. That nerve-wracking. Well, you know what? That's a lie. Getting ready. That's a tough one. Getting ready for the Phoenix Suns, going to their summer league team. They had to make cuts the last day. And I played okay leading all the way up because in my mind, pace yourself, man, till you get ready to go to Vegas and you get it on. Man, we went all the way up. And the last day when we walked in the locker room, they don't tell you anything. They just come hand you your per diem. If you get the per diem, that means you're going to Vegas. If you don't, you headed back to the hotel, pack your bag.
That's hard.
Man, and you just sitting there waiting, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, man. So they brought me the envelope. I was like, man, woo. I ain't think y'all was going to give me no money. Like, what's going on? My agent called me and said, boy, you barely made it.
Oh,
I said, what?
Man.
What you mean? He said, they said you showed out the last day. I said, man, I was doing that on purpose. Like, what y'all want me to just go bananas and day one? Like, what's going on? Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, we did. I was like, man, I got it, man.
That would have been some good advice on the front end.
yeah. But it was like, no, we rolling with it. Then I made all NBA Summer League teams.
All NBA Summer League
That's right.
teams.
So we was rolling. But that was funny, man. That ain't no funny time for the person going through it. Oh, I wonder how they do it in football.
It's funny, like, you never know how God is working in your life and the things that you really, really want.
Correct.
That don't present themselves. You don't understand why and all these things, except to, like, if you are of faith, you lean on that.
Right.
And to me, like, you with all these European things.
Yeah.
When you write that book.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a read.
It's going down. It's going down. All this for experiences. So now we got stories to tell on the radio.
We do. MC Cash on Twitter at the RHL 1045. You should use Earth Rideshare to pick Todd up, who doesn't want to be picked up in a Tesla.
Oh.
How about this? How about one of y'all just go get him and bring him over here?
Yeah, y'all come over here, we'll tell you where you at.
How funny would that be? I'm here to pick up Todd.
Yeah, who are you?
I'm George from Green Hill.
The station told me to come over and get
Steve by the lake. Let's go.
Yeah. I just
send Jake
and Brentwood.
Oh, put a camera in that car, though.
Todd, here's some Colt 45 and zigzag for your ride over. We'll be right back. Oh. By the way, Lane Kiffin found a punter. In a similar way, man, this is probably not good for Ole Miss because of the way it went down at Tennessee with Derek Dooley. But Derek Dooley, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll tell you next. Man, I'm telling you, one of the best sporting event things that you can go do is go to Bristol and watch those cars roll around that track, bumping and grinding on each other. It is so much fun. I've been twice. Been to the day race, been to the night race, and it is absolutely amazing. Even if you're not a NASCAR fan, the event is so spectacular. The venue, Bristol Motor Speedway, so spectacular that you will want to check this off your sports bucket list. The Bass Pro Shops night race is Saturday, coming up on the 17th of September. The race of the year at the Coliseum. And here's the thing. This is the cutoff race for the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line as these guys are racing to that finish line. 4 teams will be eliminated from the playoffs. Bristol produces more hot tempers than any track on the circuit. I'm telling you, you need to experience this. More helmets thrown than at a football game. Well, maybe not in Cleveland. More dented fenders than taxi cabs in New York or the cab going to get Todd. This is America's nice night race. This is America's night race. Bass Pro Shops night race Saturday. There's racing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday all weekend. And, man, I'm telling you, it is a blast. It's Bristol, baby.
How great would it be to wipe out all of your credit card payments or maybe some other high interest loans? Imagine your monthly cash flow if you didn't have all of those payments. Loan Pronto, that's who can help you. LoanPronto.com or call them at 499-5780. Home value is up and you can get cash out. Don't let the equity sit there. Get it out. Use it to pay off any debt that you have, whether you do a home loan refinance or you take advantage of their all new equity line of credit program. Either option, Loan Pronto is going to help you get a massive check. And I'm talking 50,000, 75,000, even 100,000 or more out of your home. And the payments right now are crazy low. Think what you could do with 100 grand right now. Maybe you just want to put it away in case. Could do that too. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, even with a home equity line. You can access up to 97% of your home's value. So call Loan Pronto now. It's an easy process. I did it. They're great. LoanPronto.com. 615-499-5780. That's LoanPronto.com at 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval.
3HL 1045, The Zone. Titans and Tampa Bay on the practice field tomorrow.
Going down for real.
Tom Brady will not be here.
Oh, Brady. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Have you ever seen somebody have to step away from the team and go to social media?
Yeah, he announced it on social media, right?
Yeah, didn't he? I know he posted.
Is he still
picture.
posting things?
That's what
Family pictures.
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
You think he wishes he would have retired? Think he's having second thoughts? What if he just retired, like right now?
Went home, said, "Man, I like this. I don't think I'm gonna come back. I'm good."
He could have gone to training camp and been like, "Man, I just don't have it. Give me a little." And so then Tampa's like, take like 10 days.
That would make sense.
Go home, figure it out.
But he went to OTAs and everything, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think so. I think he just something ain't right.
So you'll get the Blaine Gabbert show and the Kyle Trask show.
I'm cool with any show that involves Big Jeff and his filthy defense.
You may not get him. You can get him on the practice field.
That's fine with me.
This is where the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen especially love these practices with other teams.
Yeah.
Because they get to bang on other dudes.
Yeah, buddy.
Which sounds bad.
That's it.
But you know what I mean.
Fire in the hole, baby. Let's go.
Fire in the hole.
Yeah.
I was out there one time, and it was a Patriot when the Patriots were here, and Brett Kern.
What?
They would snap the ball over to the side. Like Brett Kern wasn't even in the punt formation when they were running through the punt drills, so he wouldn't get hit. Well, one guy ran over there and tried to block it. He was to the side of the formation, like still at punter depth, but they wanted the ability to rush without him getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so some guy ran over there and like about hit him, and it started a brawl. I'm like, leave it to Brett Kern to start the fight.
About Kern. Hey man, hey, listen, we all in this together. Nobody's bigger than the next. We're all equal out here. Specialists, D tackles, quarterbacks, everybody. Anybody can get it. We step on this Titans team defense and offense.
Do you think the women of Nashville are upset that Tom Brady will not be there this weekend?
Nah, they weren't gonna see him no way.
The Woo girls and everything.
Nah, the Woo girls probably hot. They probably gonna be riding over by Metro Center. Like what the Woo girl bus doing over here? Y'all hear that noise? Turn that music up. Yeah. Too bad, man. But hey, I'm anxious to hear the talks coming out of practice and everything, man.
I know. I can't wait. And
gonna be good.
We'll have full coverage here on 104.5 The Zone. By the way, the Woo girl sound effect there sounds like Homer Simpson.
Woo!
It does.
I may update the Ric Flair. It needs to be more drawn out. Woo!
Ric Flair has the best woo in the history of woo.
That was a quick woo.
Ric Flair.
Oh yeah, it's a legendary woo, trademark woo. I would have trademarked that. You can't stop nobody from saying woo though, can you?
Especially not on Broadway.
You're right. W and 16 O's on the copyright claim.
You better cut that.
Claim.
You better cut that woo 1 O short. Yeah, you're gonna be in trouble.
The Titans' depth at wide receiver, we mentioned that Josh Malone was one of the 5 players released. So you've got Robert Woods, Traylon Burks, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Racey McMath.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy.
Yep.
We're talking about. Kyle Phillips. You're at 5 right there.
Yes, you are. 5 good ones, too.
And that's kind of one of the questions. Do they keep 5 or 6, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Des Fitzpatrick gets left out of this deal. You know he's got to be freaking pissed at Malik Willis for not throwing that ball.
Yeah, he needed
that got Malik taken out because he was wide open.
Needed every opportunity.
And he might have had on that route, if you go back and watch, he might have had some room to run too, to like make a guy miss.
Give me a chance.
So, it's tough to evaluate a guy who's open and you're like, crap, he didn't throw it, so I can't see it. Like, you didn't catch it, so clearly.
That's why I was asking Buck that yesterday. Like how do you evaluate it if he's in there with a guy that, with the Woodside and Malik who looking at one reading and
them taking off.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be
They have
tough.
to go to, like, the all-22 and be like, look, he broke his route. He made the step. He was able to get open.
And then does he catch it in practice when it's
that's
thrown
what Buck
to him?
said. Just get open. Make sure you're getting open. So, it look good on tape, I guess.
Cody Hollister, Reggie Roberson, Jawan Green, Slay's shaking his head at all. Mason Kinsey.
Kinsey will be saved, probably practice squad.
Brandon Lewis.
He'd be over with me.
615-737-1045. You want in at their HL 1045. Lane Kiffin picked up a punter. He'll tell you how in just a second. Let's go to Alvin in Nashville. Alvin, what's up?
Alvin!
Yeah, hey, I got a question for both of y'all. The
What
first
up?
question is about the receiver deal. My thing is we don't have anybody after Woods. And the reason why I brought this question up is because I was watching NFL Network, and of course, I know we ain't talking about Julio, but Tampa Bay, he was talking about, Steve Smith was talking about how the Buccaneers is loading up for receivers just in case one of their receivers gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, are we planning for a Super Bowl? Because after Woods, who do we have?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a serious question. And also, Big Ron.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I see you bringing in all these legends from Nashville. Why have you not put Jamont Gordon on the radio?
Man, this is what I would love for you to do. I would love for you to reach out to my brother Jamont and ask Jamont, why haven't you been on the radio? Or the
We've
Boom
talked
Boom
about
Room
him
yet?
several times.
Yes,
actually.
we have.
Yeah.
I actually went to school with him.
Yeah.
And dude was a monster in high school.
Monster.
Hey,
I
man.
will reach out for real, man, because, hey,
Listen.
I wonder why he has not been on the radio. A lot of people have forgotten about him. He was a beast.
No, they have not. I know. Like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I already got the fly pen printed up for the Boom Boom Room for Jamont. Like, he's supposed to be on there. Vincent Yarbrough's supposed to be in there. The great Carolyn Aldridge supposed to be on there. Like, Angela Housel, Carrie House. Like, all these people done told me, hey, yeah, I'll do it anytime. But, man, it's difficult to try to get people to sit down for a second, man, when they got a lot of things going on. So it'll present itself, man. It'll present itself. But Money Mont, that's my guy, man, like without question. So, yeah, that's a legend without question. I mean, no question. So, yeah, we'll get it done.
Okay, that's all I need.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
doubt. Yeah, man. It's tough. The pandemic started a phase and a craze of getting these one-on-one interviews because everyone was sitting at home. With the world opening back up, everyone, got things going for their businesses and everything else that they got to, try to get back to. So it's kind of hard to kind of nail people down. But, man, Jamont's always got him at the door. But as far as wide receiver depth,
Great player at Mississippi State, too.
yeah, without question. That's an Oak Killer loan. Yeah. Wide receiver depth. What is the difference with the others and who's behind Robert Woods? I think you named the Traylon Burks, Robert Woods.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of unknown. Like Nick
That's the biggest
Westbrook-Akina
thing.
is a solid receiver.
NWI, Kyle Phillips. That's 4.
Traylon Burks is a rookie. Kyle Phillips is a rookie. Those guys are going to have to produce this year. They
Yep.
just have to
Yep.
because they're in the mix. I mean, those are 2 of the top 4 receivers.
Yeah. No question.
Unless Racey McMath just bursts onto the scene
Yep.
and presents himself as a realistic option outside.
But what can't get lost either, Yoral, is the additions to the tight end room and that
Right.
tight end spot. So
Right.
what you're not getting at receiver, man, you may have situations, you said this before, where you got 2 tight ends. Coach Mack said it also. 2 tight ends on the field at the same time with Chig split out. You know what I'm saying? All Hooper.
Swaim started last year, and nobody's even talking about him.
Right.
It's
See what I'm
Austin
saying?
Hooper, which you think you know what you have there. You've got Chig, who ran the fastest 40 time out of any tight end at the
Yep.
combine, and people are excited about him. I know that they like Tommy Hudson at tight end. Maybe Tommy Hudson makes it and Swaim doesn't. I don't know.
So we got to let it shake out. And then also remember too, there's going to be people getting cut. So even though
Yeah.
Tampa Bay looks good with the depth at receiver, they can't keep them all either. I mean, it's so we just got to wait till it shake out. Patience. Patience is a virtue.
All right, Axl Rose. Speaking of Tampa Bay, Sue Ann wants to talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady. Sue Ann, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
So I feel like what I need to do is go over to Nissan Stadium and burn sage all around the stadium to get rid of his bad juju before he even comes to step his foot in our sacred Titan place.
Well, luckily for you with your point, he's not coming.
Oh, that's great.
I love that, Miss Sue Ann. That's what I'm talking about.
That's great.
Yeah, we
You
don't
know
want
what?
it.
He's not the GOAT. You can't be the GOAT if you cheat.
Talk about it. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
he's a cheater since he got taught how to be a cheater by his coach, who's also a cheater.
Who I guess is going to call plays. That's
some weird
for the
stuff going
first
on
time.
up
And
there.
thank you, Sue Ann, for the first time in like 20 years.
See, listen.
I don't like New England.
No, I'm not a big fan at all. But I do. I like. I'll get around to it in a minute. But this is what I like about the motherly Sue Ann that I just heard right there. I could hear the motherly figure in her and her having a ruler in her hand. As soon as he come around there, after she done sprayed lit the sage all around. As soon as he try to walk over, hold out your palm, pow, smack that wrist. Get on out of here, Tom. We don't have it. And guess what? Can't nobody get mad at Miss Sue Ann for saying that. The man cheated. Now who's gonna get mad at Miss Sue Ann? That's right. Thank you, Miss Sue Ann, for calling.
You don't want to hear what she said before she went on the air with you, though. So that'll ruin that image of yours.
What she said?
I said 104.5 The Zone. Who's this? Sue Ann. What you want to talk about, Sue Ann? How Tom Brady sucks?
That kind of increased the image. Like that really, I'm really all on board with Sue Ann. Matter of fact, Miss Sue Ann, I got a special seat up front with you on this Vandy train that I'm riding around on, getting ready to go for the 2-0, going into 3. You like that music right there, Miss Sue Ann? You can have that in your ear all day. We'll give you the aux cord. You can control the music.
I can't wait to ask Todd Fuhrman about your 3-0 Vandy train.
I tackle Todd Fuhrman in here. If he gets slick with me today, I'll tackle him. Right here. Right in the Coach Mac.
I know he always has the advantage of being in Las Vegas on a phone.
Yeah, not no more. He got to deal with the big man himself.
Todd Fuhrman coming in studio. He is in town for, I don't know if he's going to announce it today or wait. So we'll see. Here is the New England Patriots. Here's the beginning of their schedule. You ready for this?
I am ready.
I'm ready for them to suck. I'm like Sue Ann. Are you okay?
No.
You about to sneeze?
I'm back.
And we're back. I think Mac Jones is going to take a big step back. I think the league is going to figure him out. And, I mean, if you go back, like, you talk to people around the league, like, this is a guy who does not stretch the defense.
Right.
High completion percentage because he's throwing quick, short passes. They'll figure him out. Here's New England's schedule. At Dolphins.
Lost.
At Steelers. Don't know what the Steelers are.
Right.
A lot has to do with how the quarterback does.
Right.
Kind of like Miami, but at least Miami
but they got,
brought in some playmakers and things like that.
All around them.
Ravens in week 3.
Lost.
At Packers. And then your Hard Knocks boys, the Lions. Man, I watched Hard Knocks. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it the first episode when you guys did, like in real time, but I did watch it a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Man, I want the Lions to do well. I told you this is what. Hello. Time to get Todd the Uber, unless one of y'all want to go pick him up.
Jake
Hurley, go get Todd. No, but I told you that's what Hard Knocks does. Hard Knocks makes you, like, number one, want that team to do well, but also you think they can. And they're not. They're just not. I
need to see steps in the right direction.
By the running back, man.
Yeah.
I brought my Jamal Williams. I brought my 12-year-old down. I said, you need to listen to this guy.
Them the kind of guys you want on your team where it means something different. It ain't about the paycheck. It's more than the love. Like, this it. That's what we live for out here.
He said he kept thinking about the 3 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you got to figure out what your why is. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? I mean, he went for like 5 minutes, man, with his hand up.
That's
and
right.
one teammate held his hand the whole time.
Yeah. That coaching staff, too. That's a really good coaching staff. Intense coaching staff, too. I love former players being coaches.
615-737-1045. Let's go to JD in Spring Hill. JD, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Yep.
You know, we're speculating. I've heard everyone talking about the 53-man roster, everything. Who they going to keep, who they going to cut. But I'm really not concerned with the 53-man. We're talking about a team that suited up 91 players last year. I mean, he's going to play a chess game the whole year. If he sees something, he's going to wave somebody, pull somebody back. I mean, that's the way I see it. He's going to play a chess game the whole year like he did last season. It seemed to work
There are. Thank you, JD. Appreciate it. And I'm more that way too. Like I'm more worried about who are the starters and what kind of production level can you get there. But it is interesting to watch these roster battles just from the storylines of everything. Like Brett Kern getting pushed by this Stonehouse dude. Stonehouse can punt it a mile, which is like, I don't know, if you're a veteran baseball player and you can hit it anywhere you want and you can advance runners and things like that. But then here comes this guy that can knock it out of the park and hit it 450 feet. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like what is, so it's interesting to watch that battle unfold.
Yeah.
And there are others. I mean, right tackle, the starting battle. There's a lot of things to watch, especially when other teams come to your practice facility.
That's the biggest thing. When they get to hit somebody else and you don't have to think about hitting them and pulling up. Like, hit them and drive through it. It's cool. So, you're right. Coach Mike Keefe said it the other day. Yesterday, matter of fact.
Yeah, what day is today?
Right.
Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll run together.
Was that only yesterday?
Season. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, lots happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But Mike Keefe said it. Like when those lights come on, what happens? Like, do you turn into that different type of dog? Do you play differently? Or can you transfer everything you were learning in practice to the game? It remains to be seen, and it's a great opportunity for everyone. So, with it. I'm with it.
Derek Dooley, when he was coach at Tennessee,
oh boy,
had a problem with the kicking position. So they ended up going over to, Derek Dooley tells a story that he ends up going over to well, not him personally, but they sent a guy over to the frat house and got a kicker that kicked in high school. Next thing you know, like that day, he ends up kicking for Tennessee. Like, if that was Slay, they'd have gone over to the frat house. Slay would have been, like, in the middle of a 43-second keg stand.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, he's kicking on the field at Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
Aim for the one in the middle, right?
Do your best.
Lane Kiffin, similar experience. He'll tell you, we meant to get that in this segment, but you guys calling, we love to go to you. We'll do that next. It's a pretty interesting story on 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening, good people? Listen to me. I got something for you, and I'm telling you something that everybody's out here telling me. What they telling you, Slay? It's probably what you're thinking as you ride around.
What they telling you, Slay?
Oh, you know what they telling me, y'all? They saying, man, dude, you ain't lying about them wings, man. Them wings are phenomenal. Hey, you know what they talking about? Steele, I got wings. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Cousin Paxton, man. He just went through there, and he said they were everything you said they were. Fire. 3961 Nolensville Pike. Plaza Mariachi is where you can find it. 123 Ewing Drive. Today is Tuesday, people. So at both locations, you know what that means? 69-cent wings. Perfect day to go in there. Perfect day to go in there and tell them to give you the Ron Slay. What is that, you ask? Well, I'll tell you, since I'm Ron Slay. Sweet and sassy with the lemon pepper drizzle on it. Cajun ranch fries with the cheese melted on top. And salute to everybody that came out last night at Plaza Mariachi, Strikeout Wings. Smoked out Monday 6 to 10, man. Great vibes, great music, great conversation, great drinks, man. See you next time. Still, I got wings.
Buddy Allen Carpet One, they are your flooring experts. If you're thinking about a flooring project, these are your guys. You need to check them out. Anything flooring related. They are locally owned and operated by the Allen family for more than 55 years. Zach, Jenna, and Judson Allen, they are in the store every day, so they will be acutely aware of your flooring project from start to finish, including the installation. They don't farm that out. They handle that in-house. 2405 11 and Pike in Donaldson, 615-883-3289, BuddyAllenCarpet1.com. 3HL 1045 The Zone. Ron Slade with problems.
Man, big problems, man. I was just about to hit my twigs. Just about to hit my twigs.
I'll get the music. Big Pop is like, Slade goes, damn.
Like that stopped you before.
Yeah, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better now.
Try to do better.
Since yesterday when you took a big gulp during the middle of your own conversation that you were having with Dawn.
And my straw made a nice little noise. Ding! Ding! Yeah. That's a cool straw.
Because none of y'all were willing to go get Todd Fuhrman,
Oh, come on, y'all.
we sent an Uber over there.
We thought y'all were helpers.
I
Great
hope
helpers. Lend a hand.
I hope it's a Datsun. Remember them?
I hope it's a DeLorean. It all belongs in the DeLorean.
Go back in time.
Yeah, it does. It belongs in it.
Can they hit, what was the speed, 71 miles an hour?
88 miles per hour.
88, dog.
88. Alan
You can take
Kulwicki.
off.
Can they hit 88 on the way here?
Nah. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, depends
Maybe
on where
so.
he's coming from. If he coming from Broadway, no
Yeah,
way.
it's a little straight away where he got to come from. Maybe they.
You know the naked statues over there? They used to have clothes on them. And then Dawn went around there. She went around so fast,
them
knocked
off.
all the clothes off.
Well, good for Babsy. Thank you, Aunt Laura. Miss
Blue
Laura,
Raider fans, join 1045 The Zone this Sunday for MTSU Fan Day. MTSU Fan Day is free. Free. And open to the public Sunday from 3 until 5 at Floyd Stadium.
Man,
Randall Pink Floyd Stadium.
you gotta love, man, your coaches, man, when they out here in the community like they are, man. So salute to the MTSU coaches.
It's
man.
it's good for the kids too because man, fall camp is a grind.
Yeah, man.
On
it
every
is.
level.
Ain't no question.
Like high school football starts up Friday, which is awesome.
Yeah, man.
So the players will be out there. Plenty of activities to get the entire family involved, including inflatables, giveaways, free concessions, and autograph sessions with the 2022 football team. So if you want Connor Doherty's autograph, you can go over there on Sunday.
And I'm with that with C-Dog. You know what I mean? I'm with seeing Stock. I'm with seeing the Ensels, Rick Ensel, Matty Ice, my boys.
You getting in the inflatables?
No, you said something, man, that, you know what I mean, like free concessions?
Free concessions.
Like everything.
You just here for the buffet?
Man, if they got the open menu, is it open menu?
I'm reading the words that are presented to me in front of me on paper form.
Is this open bar? Or is this like one trip to the concessions and you get something and then you can't come back?
Might be open bar for me somewhere in there.
Hey, man.
You hang with me, bro.
Oh, you think I won't? Think I won't when I will?
Autograph sessions with the 2022 football team. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com.
What's
What radio station do we work at?
The Dome.
1045 The Dome. Ain't no roof, though. We can't be the Dome.
Car ain't got no roof. Car ain't got no roof.
Like when they build this new stadium over there across the river and they put a roof on it, you're going to try to blow it off every time.
What? I missed that song, boy. Football, regular season can't hurry up and get here, man.
One more weekend without it.
Shoot. Man, I've been missing car ain't got no roof, man.
I heard Brian Rice today on J. Martin Ramon say it's Peyton Manning days until Tennessee football.
Yeah, I did hear him say that. Lucky 16.
Lane Kiffin found a punter.
Where?
Hanging out with people like us, I think.
Oh, that's a punter of the people.
Punter of the people. He doesn't even know his name.
So he was on the pup list.
He calls him my guy, which I think is what Frank Wycheck used to call JT when they were both here. Because Frank didn't know JT's name. So he would just call him my guy.
It's my guy is longer than his name.
There are more letters in my guy than JT.
Yes.
I think that's what he called him. Anyway, this is Lane Kiffin talking about finding a punter.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about him. I think he was down at the frat house, like at a keg party or something, where they got him from. So we got some conditioning work to do with my guy. But we just said, hey, someone go find a punter around campus. And so we found one that actually used to punt in Division I. So you never know.
Like, used to punt Division I. What are you doing? Just hanging out? Like, just hanging out at the school? Who's working on his master's? Or, like, how do you have a Division I punter just at the frat house hanging out? Like, this is Rodney Dangerfield. Like, is he used to be a punter in D1?
Did you just go back to school?
Yeah, that's it.
The Triple Lindy?
Love that movie. Would come out in the bathrobe.
Hey.
Hey, who want to see me? Hey. Man, I love that movie. But that's like, you can't just find a guy hanging out at the frat house that can kick.
That's what Tennessee did. Derek Brodus, who is here, is what I heard.
Brodus, call the show, man. Let me ask you about that experience. Have y'all had interviewed him before?
No.
Brodus, call the show. Somebody contact Brodus.
Now, we had Derek. So Hunk went looking for the audio of Derek Dooley talking about Derek Brodus, and he can't find it. But then I started thinking about it. I think Derek Dooley talked about it on our show, and we didn't save it. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, there's like nowhere I could find. I've searched every single place. I've searched because it happened during the MTSU game in 2011. I found the next day press conference, everything. Cannot find the post game where Derek Dooley talks about what happened with the punter.
So the punter that Ole Miss found, they said weighs 250 pounds.
Or kicker.
Hey, well, get what? That means there's gonna be some mustard behind that kick. You understand that? They're gonna put some funk on that thing.
So the bigger you are as a punter, the funkier the kick is.
Because you can lightly kick it. You can just go natural, and the boom carried by the weight. It's on to the next stratosphere.
He's 6'1", 250, this guy.
That's a lot of boom. 6'1", 250. He would be equal to me right now. That probably measure out to me.
Slay, go out on the street and punt. Let's see how much boom.
I'll boot this thing.
Oh, this dude's bigger.
I came
than
in
you,
second
man.
and what is it? Punt, pass, and kick.
kick?
Yep. Over at, I think they had one at TSU when I was younger.
Yeah.
Then they had one at Vandy.
Why did you come in second? Who beat you? Do you remember?
A real punter.
So the punt is what got you?
Yeah.
Because you could throw it.
Yeah, I would throw it.
And then you just kick it. Like, that's one of the best things about high school is when the big kid is the kicker.
Yep.
I mean, they tried.
Big Joe was our kicker for a minute.
I know. John Henderson kicking. The ball was scared.
Get to there. I'll kick you.
Can you see the other team going like, "Hey man, target that kicker. Go take him out." And these little kids that are like 5'8", 125 pounds.
I dare you to block this. Yeah, man.
Like Mickey was out there. I had a friend named Ken Newton. He played at Hillsboro. Well, he's older than you guys.
That's a
but
heck of a name.
He was like Ken Newton. Sounds like a NASCAR driver. Doesn't it?
Or country music thing.
Yeah. Big Alabama fan, this guy. Anyway, I know. But he played wide receiver at Hillsboro. He was like 5 foot, whatever, 130 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was tough, but man, every once in a while somebody
rock and roll
find him and he didn't see it.
Yeah.
6'1", 250. I can't wait to see this guy.
Please run a fake.
He was the number 13 punter in the nation in his 2020 recruiting class, signed with Nevada out of high school.
So he just hung it up?
I guess he just decided he wanted to go to the party.
From the parties I heard that's happening in the Grove, I really can't blame him. Set the Grove off the hook.
Can he do a 43-second cake stand? That's my question.
That's a lot of weight holding. I was at about 250 when I was doing my cake stand.
Yeah, but you had defensive lineman and a wide receiver holding
That's
you up.
true. He got normal human beings holding him up. That may be a weight shift, boy.
Normal human beings at the frat house.
Yeah. Well, no.
There's no chance they're sober.
Yeah.
Zero.
Some aliens holding them up.
All right, Todd Fuhrman is here.
Let's get it.
He'll be in studio, and here's what we can do with Todd. Todd's like football Rain Man. Actually, he's like any sport Rain Man, but we'll probably concentrate on football. So if maybe we don't talk about your team enough, call in and ask Todd about your team, and he will break it down. Todd Fuhrman next in studio 104.5 The Zone. How's that, Twix?
Good. All right. Hunt couldn't wait for me to have to go because I just took a bite of my Twix.
All this is on purpose.
I know it is, but it is good. Let me tell you something else that's good.
TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
If you get offered,
banks are great for car loans, but when you need a home loan, you need an expert. We'll get you pre-approved the day you call in, lower rates, and with our 21-day closing guarantee, you'll be in your dream home in weeks.
gambling problem, call 1-800-899-9789. Book it. What's up, good people? Wouldn't it have been nice for Todd Fuhrman to have his own car where he could just drive over here instead of us having to go figure out a way to get him over here? Well, if he would have went down to Music City Autoplex, he could have got a car right here for why he's in town, 2430 Gallatin Pike North. That's where he would have went, or he could have got on his phone and went on MusicCityAutoplex.com. But who knows? It doesn't matter. It's the Uncommon Dealership. Uncommon things need to happen. I'm here to tell you how you can be committed to the experience that you're going to get at Music City Autoplex. They're committed to you. You want what you want, and they got what you need. So put it together, and you come out of that satisfied. SUVs, sedans, trucks, foreign cars, sports cars, whatever it may be, all the features, all the options. They offer prices and incredible financing options. They don't make excuses, so why would you? Why would you make an excuse? Make it make sense. You can't. Just like I ain't making an excuse. I went twice. Now go again. They don't ask you to settle for less than you deserve either. One more reason why they are truly the Uncommon Dealership. And that's why I end it every single time by making your day. Go get a car.
Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Joe Hunk. The Titans have made their first round of cuts. Did so just about an hour ago. Deontay Burton, Haskell Garrett, Carson Green, Jordan Wilkins, and VFL Josh Malone have all been waived. The Giants getting ready for week one against the Titans here in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. Maybe Daniel Jones, maybe Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod apparently getting the first team reps earlier today. And the first line of betting odds have jumped out for week 0 and week 1. Vanderbilt is heading to Hawaii as a 6.5-point favorite. Tennessee looking like a 31-point favorite right now against Ball State in week 1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, a flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Three HL 104.5 The Zone. It's already 4 o'clock. You still in on that Twix?
Dang it, Slay.
Listen, there's 2 of them.
It's 2 of them.
You know, you get your double your bang for your buck when you mess with Twix.
Your left and your right Twix.
See, I already knocked the.
Is one better than the other?
Depending on which side you open and which way you open it, that's where you. So I knocked the right one down.
You went right first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Damn. I'm halfway through on the left. The caramel a little thick.
You might need to buy some Twix for 5 guys that just got released from the Titans. Jordan Wilkins, the running back. Carson Green, offensive lineman. Haskell Garrett, defensive lineman. Deontay Burton, defensive back. And wide receiver Josh Malone, former Vol.
Go Vols. It's all right.
So your advice to these guys is just stick around town?
Yeah, man. Stay ready, man. Don't be running around eating Twix like me. You know what I mean? Like, stay locked in. Get ready to do your thing because your call is coming. Now, what you do with that call, yeah, it can get ugly for you real quick. It can get dark. Get dark and ugly. You don't want it both.
You don't want dark and ugly?
No. Just let it get dark.
One or the other you can deal with and find
Can't deal with
swim
both.
out.
Can't deal with both.
Like the mouse in the cabinet over there in the green room.
Yeah.
That's really the. And Dawn keeps her headphones in that cabinet.
Let them hear. Let them hear good.
It's crazy. His name is Ron Slay.
What's happening, good people? Let's get it. I'm in the building. I'm in the building. Hey, I'm in the building. 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 I'm in
Tennessee
the building.
Ball State, 16 days away.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt at Hawaii, 11 days away.
Ooh-wee.
I've never seen you all in on Vanderbilt on anything.
I'm going to break hearts. I got 3 weeks to break hearts.
Todd Fuhrman is in studio today. Normally Wednesday at 4:30, but in Nashville. What, are you going to a bachelorette party?
No, I wish I got invited to bachelorette parties. I'm no longer allowed to be a guest of honor. That's a young man's game out there. And you know what? The rain, though, honestly, guys, when I was walking around, I figured I'd see all some of the normal sights that we see in Nashville. But it's really put a damper, and apparently no one has bachelorette parties in Nashville on Tuesday. So maybe I have to be here for Friday, Saturday. But don't worry.
You haven't dug in deep enough.
I will be back for my bachelor party in October, and we're making sure we're turning into a full-blown 6-day fiasco. So we're going to be on the we're going to be on the Slay plan. We're going to have him taking us to all of the establishments that we need to try and frequent in town.
I got you.
Is this a trip to town where you're trying to get Slay to give you the VIP treatment at the Tennessee-Alabama game?
Slay has promised all sorts of VIP treatment, but I figure as soon as I get to the city limits in Knoxville, they're going to go, nope, you're not allowed to be here anymore. We've heard some of the negative things you said about UT football over the years, but I figure it could be a much more accommodating fan base there than if I made the trip down to Fayetteville because they're not inviting me to Bud Walton Arena anytime soon.
At all?
No.
I don't.
They're not rolling out the red carpet, given some of the comments I said about Coach Musk going into last year's tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the Bachelorette thing. So all you got to do is walk out this front door, go across that parking lot and across the street, and that's where the Pedal Tavern is, and just stand there and wait. There'll be an empty seat on one of those.
I was going to ask, these Pedal Taverns, I know they've taken off in other cities as well, but what's the allure? Like, when I'm drinking, the last thing I want to do is pretend that I'm actually getting exercise or anything along those lines. But I can take shots at my better half because they're planning a workout class as part of her bachelorette festivities when they go to Park City. I think the only working out that's going to go on when my boys come rolling into Nashville is how many 12-ounce curls they're able to do from when the bars open up in the morning until they get kicked out because they can't spell their own names.
That sounds like my type of party right there. I like that.
Todd Fuhrman,
like spelling my name.
At Todd Fuhrman on Twitter, Bet the Board Podcast. How many years you been doing this podcast? It's phenomenal, by the way.
2014, I think, is when we started. Yeah, and when you look at it, it's pretty crazy. We actually went back because we got a little nostalgic and we wanted to hear what the first episode sounded like. They were about 25 to 30 minutes. There wasn't any sufficient deep dive that would warrant the product that people have grown accustomed to. And we recorded on a program called GoToMeeting, where Payne's dad basically had to merge the file. So it was a glorified version of having 2 tin cans. It was rattly. We probably had about 35 to 40 listeners back in the day.
Was it you and Payne Insider?
Yeah, it was Payne and I right from day one, and it's really grown leaps and bounds. The listenership has been huge. I mean, we continue to branch out. I mean, getting into NASCAR this year was a massive step in the right direction, our first official partnership with a league. And we'll be back to the normal Monday, Thursday NFL schedule, Wednesdays for college football.
Yeah.
When things crank up, like you guys said, 12, 16 days. It's getting here soon.
I love the Power 5 breakdowns where you spend just an entire pod on each conference. And I listened to the SEC breakdown a couple of times. 2 hours and change on that deal. So, I mean, you deep dive it. Now, in that 2 hours, Slay, guess what they did not talk about?
What?
Your Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't know why they wouldn't. Todd, I'm giving you an opportunity since you're here.
Well, I'm trying to figure all this out. And granted, I don't listen to the show every day. I have to be honest, guys. I have a lot of other things going on.
Todd.
Well, first of all, shame on you.
Where did this love for Vanderbilt's football team for the 2022 season and hopefully beyond start from you? And what's creating this level of optimism for you, Slay?
Let's be real first, though, on the front end. This does not go beyond week 3.
Yeah,
we haven't
a hard stop.
You know what, though? If they go 3-0, they cash their win total, and that's all that matters. It's game over, and everything beyond that is completely
We're
gravy.
driving down 65 South 120 miles an hour, and we hit a wall after week 3.
No, we break.
Oh, we're breaking?
We ain't hitting the wall. No, we break it. Listen.
They might hit a wall.
Yeah, we ain't got to do with that. This train don't go further. So this is the thing, Todd. Like, I'm watching Clark Lee and what he's doing. You know, when I went over last year for, what was the, what do they call it, black and gold game? The spring game?
Yeah.
I noticed that, this was his first year. They got something different going on as far as the structure and the discipline that they got. Like, it's not just guys just walking around in the end zone like, we play for Vanderbilt. It's like we came out here to get some work done. They getting the work done. Then him talking and me knowing Clark Lee, what he needs for this to happen, he had to wipe it out. He had to clean slate it. And he thought it was going to be easier. So for him to admit that this is a more difficult job than he thought it was, I think that's good to know when you're self-aware. So he's self-aware of what he got to do. He's got the people leading. I like Mike Wright as the quarterback. I know this is going to be a struggle with the O-line. Hawaii, like, they might as well just jump in the dumpster. They can set it on fire and jump in it and close the lead.
They had a hard time finding a coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So they go with a former quarterback.
They brought back a legend, and we'll see if Timmy Chang can resurrect Hawaii football into turning to what every degenerate gambler grew accustomed to when Timmy was on campus there. You know it was going to be run and duck, Jerry Glanville, June Jones, and everything that was great when you stayed up into the wee hours of the morning watching college football. But it's interesting to hear you articulate some of the challenges that Clark may not have realized he actually had coming here. How patient the fan base will be, obviously. It's a 3 to 5 year rebuild.
Right.
And I think when you look at the current landscape of the SEC, you just have to be realistic with expectations. I mean, it's great to sell this vision that, hey, we want to be SEC East contenders year in, year out. But I think for Vanderbilt, I don't want to say their ceiling is 7-8 wins, but I think realistically, if you can get this program to be headed in the same trajectory as, let's use another academic power in the Big Ten like Northwestern. Have a couple of up years, you get the right players in, and they have to be willing to buy into the culture, buy into the system, and take those 2- and 3-star recruits, turn them into a lot more, and go to a bowl game maybe 2 out of every 4 years, knowing the rigors of the SEC East are significantly more intense than what even Northwestern has to go through in the Big Ten West year in, year out.
No doubt. So listen,
Wait.
Okay.
So are you saying 7-8 wins this year?
No, absolutely not. They get to 7-8 wins this year. We may see Slay in his birthday suit running up and down Broadway, painted fully in black and gold to try and celebrate exactly what Vanderbilt was able to accomplish.
Yeah, because once that 3 wins happens, you're going in on some more.
Oh.
If that 3 wins happens, then you're going to take 5, then you're going to take 7, then you're going to be rich.
Let me finish explaining to both of you guys, because it seems to be a misunderstanding.
I mean, we're all your share.
Hawaii, you got that one right.
Okay.
Now the next one. Elon.
Yep.
Coming here after ETSU did to Vanderbilt what they did last year when they came down here. So, regardless of whatever it is, that was Clark Lee taking Vanderbilt by the shoulder pads and shaking them. Hope I got your attention now. Elon is here. Would you expect them to beat Elon?
If they can't beat Elon, there are much bigger problems than I ever anticipated. So
that's what I said.
Going off the numbers, we know where they are, 6.5, 7-point favorite for the opener. They'll be a favorite against Elon. They have to be 2-0. for what we should start calling the Slay Bowl around these parts. When Wake Forest comes in, he's ready to make them a double-digit favorite in the game because Sam Hartman's not going to be out there. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're still probably going to be more than a touchdown underdog in that game.
I think you need to give the pregame speech.
I believe
if they're
that.
2-0 and they play Wake Forest, you need to give the pregame
Listen,
speech.
I believe that. All I'm asking you, walking into that game 2-0, Wake Forest does not have their quarterback. More than likely right now. If you go into that game and you need to hang your hat, you have an opportunity to hang your hat on a win. Wake Forest probably be right outside the top 25 at this time if they don't have a quarterback. Just guessing. You got an opportunity to hang your hat on a signature win at home versus another black and gold team. So hopefully they bring their fans, mix it with your fans. Then it looks like these are all Vanderbilt fans. So, you kind of in a win-win situation. It's not going to happen in the SEC.
They're all black and gold.
They both are.
The better question I have, and this isn't throwing shade at Vanderbilt, that's an 11 Central kickoff on SEC Network. What are we talking about? 40% capacity for Wake Forest and Vandy for that game? And there's no shot, Brent, that Slay is going to be out there, even if that's the game that they need, that he's going to be out there when the game kicks off. He's going to send you a picture of him watching at a local watering hole, or better yet, he's watching from his couch. Oh, something came up. I couldn't make it out to the game. I'm going to be rooting for Vanderbilt at home. There's enough black and gold there that they don't need one more fan.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, they walking in that game 2-0. I'm wearing all black to that game. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have 2 tents. I'm going to put 2 tents out there in the parking lot.
If they win that game, are you going to make the trip with the team to DeKalb for the game against NIU to see if they can go 4-0?
No, why 2 tents?
It's radio, Slay. You got to say it.
No, I'm not going to, he's trying to take me into another path. I'm not listening. This train right here has enough fuel and charcoal and wood to get us to 3 games.
And then it runs out. Then it's done.
We got to work on next year.
After 3, he has no control over it
I don't
whatsoever.
know what's happening.
He just releases the train.
My speech has not been prepared to go past 3 games. That's all I can get you ready for.
You just jump off the train and it's just headed down the track?
I got to get to Knoxville.
Straight back to the future 3. Just hop right off where it goes off the edge.
So, Todd, are you getting on this train?
That they're going to get to 3 wins? No, I'm not getting on the train.
Will you get on the train for going into the game against Wake Forest 2-0?
Yes, I'll get on that train that they're 2-0 going into the game against Wake Forest. I am not getting on the money line train for the Commodores week 3, though, against Wake Forest as things stand now. But we know, like anything else, this is a fluid business. I will have to adjust based on what I see from Wake Forest and their current quarterback play. But there's no doubt they'll lose a dimension of leadership and skill set if Sam Hartman, can't return from the unfortunate circumstances that'll have him sidelined to start the season.
So before the break, you know what I took from that, Todd?
That I'm on the train.
That you on the damn train.
For a couple weeks. Woo! So he's going to evaluate if he goes to the 3rd stop.
Yeah, I don't care. Might be going too fast. I told him he better have a motorcade. He got a motorcade. He's jumping off after 2 wins.
Who's the second best team in the East? Talk about it next. Todd Fuhrman with us at Todd Fuhrman. If you want in, 615-737-1045. We can
Got
talk
him on the train, y'all.
college football or the NFL, team by team with Todd Fuhrman next. 3HL 1045 The Zone. Brentwood Jewelry. Everyone needs a jeweler in their life. That's for sure, because we all have gifting responsibilities throughout the course of the year. So make sure that you go visit with my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. You think you're under control. You think you've got everything handled throughout the course of the year. And then guess what? A birthday pops up, and 2 days before the birthday, you're sitting there going, man, I wish I had a jeweler in my life. Well, you can. Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street in the heart of Brentwood. If you haven't already heard, Nashville's premier timepiece dealer is Brentwood Jewelry. Not only do they have the best selection in watches, but they're also the go-to spot for pre-owned Rolexes, both vintage or current models. You can own a pre-owned Rolex for a fraction of the cost. Every watch has been meticulously serviced to ensure the highest level of performance and is presented with a 2-year warranty. But again, they have a tremendous selection beyond the Rolex. And Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for more than 50 years. Visit BrentwoodJewelry.com. There is a new restaurant in Franklin that I absolutely love. I go there all the time. In fact, my wife took one of our kids over there the other day when we went to the soccer game. They're like, you know what? We're going to go to Gina's Pizzeria. And we're going to get that done in Franklin. And that's where you need to go. Columbia Avenue is where they are in the Target Shopping Center. And Gina's Pizzeria is known for their New York style pizza. It's phenomenally good. And they have custom choices for you as well. I'll tell you more about that in a second. But Gina's has a lot more in their menu than just pizzas. If you love a Chicago Italian beef, you've got to try it. Absolutely phenomenal. Had one for lunch not too long ago, and there are a lot of people in there with the Italian beef. And here's the thing, like, you're sitting in there, you're reading the menu, and then you see an Italian beef sandwich walk by, and you're like, I'm going to try that. And that's what's going to happen. With their delicious sweet pepper options, try it dry, dip, dunk, or drowned. If you want a secret menu item, try the Italian beef pizza. It's a game changer in the pizza game. Gina's StonefiredItalian.com. Gina's StonefiredItalian.com. Another cool thing about Gina's is all the kids love to go there too. So you may know what I'm talking about when you go to a restaurant and it's hard for kids to find something to eat and all those things. Gina's Pizzeria, they love it, and we do too. Ask about their fundraising programs for their school sports clubs, their spirit clubs. Again, Columbia Pike, Target, Kroger, Shopping Center, Parkway Commons is what it's called. Best wings in Franklin. In fact, they win awards for their wings. So make sure you try that too. Let me know what you think. Gina's StonefiredPizza.com. 3HL 1045, this Zone Tuesday edition. Brent Doherty, Ron Slay, Don Davenport on assignment. Todd Fuhrman in studio, in town for something that we'll talk about later, I guess.
Well, we can roll that off. I mean, it's not anything that exciting or top secret.
I've heard that it hasn't been rolled out informationally.
I guess, and we found that firsthand in our meeting today. There were some questions. We hadn't thought about that contingency. We weren't quite sure exactly how that was going to look. But yeah, there's no doubt that I've been a active member as far as some of the analysis and everything else for CBS Sports HQ over the last couple of years. And they've always said that they wanted to continue to grow their gambling footprint. So I think there's a lot of cool things on the horizon. They've tried to gather the team out here. We had what I defined as school pictures earlier today. Got my glow up, the glam session. They had to steam the nice shirt, make sure the suit looked like it was in pristine condition. And I'm going to do everything I can to be able to circulate those on social media, Instagram, and what have you. Once I get my proofs back, but I figure out of the 1,000 pictures they took of me, there may be one. But I did get some interesting pictures today, and Nicole's actually been peppering me. We had our engagement shoot last week. And where do you go as a Las Vegas local if you're going to do an engagement shoot that's on brand? To the sports book. So we have some pretty cool shots there, and it was funny.
Caesars or no?
No, we did not do Caesars. Jay Cornegay and the team at the Westgate were absolutely tremendous in terms of letting us into the book.
Oh, that's
We went
cool.
there 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, went through about a 2-hour session and had some real cool photos, more so than the trendy stuff that people do where they're out on train tracks or they're walking around a park. And,
Helicopter in the Grand
yeah,
Canyon.
I mean, everyone's done some of that cliche stuff, so you may as well stay true to the brand, and I think it'll be fun for folks when they get to save the date, and we'll try and circulate some of those pictures. Of course, with her permission, because I've realized I look the same in every picture.
Yeah.
But as you know, women can pick up every subtle nuance of a picture, or I don't like this aspect. I don't like the way my elbow looked in that picture. I don't like the way my kneecap looked. I don't give a damn. I look the exact same all the time.
Well, I mean, this is just me. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I always say. Like, I look like what I look like. I mean, what are we going to do?
What you want me to do?
But we have learned that lesson with Dawn a few times. And she's like cool like a dude about most things. But every once in a while, she'll be like, why did y'all let that picture go out?
Yep.
Well, that's the whole thing. And I was actually talking to some of the CBS folks about that. And obviously, they work with tons of high-profile talent. And when they have to do group shots, I go, how the hell do you get all 3, 4, 5 women that are taking one picture at the same time to agree? And the photographer was honest. She goes, well, normally we don't. That's why we get pictures done individually. We splice it all together. We can space it out accordingly. And that way we can get approval. But she did reveal that there is some male talent that can be extremely fastidious or particular about the images that they get circulated. Whereas for me, I show up, I go, I didn't know that was a picture you were going to pull off the internet and use to represent me, but it is what it is.
So did you take a picture, just you and like Alan Bell with like sweater vests and stuff?
No, it was just they made sure.
Like the Olin Mills thing?
Yeah, I think Alan had to do a full sports line shot, or so they had 8 or 9 of them in one group photo. For me, I just did individual photos. So it's look at the camera, it's button the jacket, unbutton the jacket, turn right, turn left. I told him I was disappointed that there weren't ridiculous props for us to have, like a lacrosse stick over my shoulder or a hockey stick. So the best thing I had was my mobile phone to try and do it to create my Adam Schefter-esque type moment. So you guys know I'm an open book with all that stuff. So are there any ridiculous images that come out of it? I will definitely be sure to share those and send them to you directly.
I'm gonna love that. You know what? And you could have saved some money too with your wedding.
Oh, here we go.
No, this is serious, right?
Okay.
But somebody reneged on it. I was going to be an ordained minister. Like, I could have married.
He keeps talking about this.
I'm serious.
Have you ever actually married any of your friends?
I was about to.
What happened? The wedding fell through because they knew you were going to be the minister that was going to ordain them?
No,
or?
they were supposed to be paying for me to go get ordained.
Oh.
Then,
Isn't that only like $100?
I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Slay's expensing it to Slay's expensing it to the wedding couple in some capacity.
For a year and a half,
Yeah.
I've been talking to Slay. Slay's been talking about becoming a pastor.
Yeah, I'm gonna marry some people out here, man.
We are paying $0 to our friends that are going to serve as an officiant. It's one of my best friends and one of Nicole's best friends. And they're the only 2 people that really know us as well living in Vegas.
That's right.
So I've already told my buddy, if you don't want to talk, she's going to be a lot more entertaining and engaging than you. So just stand there and don't say anything dumb. But
Let her have it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going to turn our rehearsal dinner into a potential full-blown roast in some capacity. And,
Oh, yes.
we'll open up the floor for those kind of things and see what we have. I did push Payne, though, Brent, to try and speak. He goes, that's not my scene. I'm not going to do it.
I don't know that I've ever seen the guy.
There's a lot of people that haven't. He thrives and loves the fact that he is surrounded in mystery in a variety of capacities. But when you get him out, I'm going to actually have to bring him in to introduce him to you, and because he's part of the wedding party, so he'll be out here for the bachelor party.
Yeah.
So I'll have to bring him in, and once you get him going and fired up, he'll talk, and I tell him all the time during Super Bowl week in Miami, he could have run for mayor. He knew everybody in the hotels. He was bouncing around, and then, like he always does, disappears into the shadows to resurface about 6 months later.
Yep. Bet the Board podcast, Todd Fuhrman and Payne Insider. And my 12-year-old, probably not your demo, but loves the pod.
I'm happy.
Because of the information.
Well, I am happy that he listens. We, of course, around Bet the Board preach responsible gaming, so the show is for 21 plus. I cannot control who listens to it, but your 12-year-old reminds me a lot of what I would be doing back then. And that's the one thing about the podcast that we've had actually the most positive feedback on, that you don't have to be a sports bettor to take the information and understand the value it can add for a casual fan. And it just provides a different vehicle or lens through which we approach the games from advanced stats and analytics. The difference being a casual fan can use those nuggets when he or she goes to the water cooler. For us, we're graded on wins and losses over 60-minute sample sizes. So it's a fascinating endeavor. And I think that's where sports gambling is. It starts to enter the discourse. And we were talking about it during the break. We've been doing this segment for 10 plus years now. And we were ahead of the time then. You have a lot of folks that are fly-by-night who think they're experts in the space. And if you have to pound your chest, Slay, this isn't directed at you, that want to pound their chest and claim that they're experts or understand how everything works in the gambling industry, I mean, you can see through a lot of that charlatan-type behavior.
He also, my 12-year-old, loves Payne because he said Payne is the coolest name in the history of names, and he's going to name his kid Payne.
Payne, I like Payne Doherty. I like that. But is that a name destined for baseball? Is it destined for football, or is it destined straight for country music?
He wants two boys that both play baseball. He got very specific about this one day.
They know exactly what he's looking for.
Only baseball, huh?
Yeah, but he wants to adopt because he doesn't want to do the weird thing, he said.
Well, you know what? Maybe
who does?
Hey, look. Hey, you've produced some stellar athletes. Maybe he's worried about the gene pool. So if he hand selects who he's going to adopt, it may give him a better opportunity to raise a professional ball player.
My wife's going to text me any second.
Kelly's not listening. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, probably not. So SEC, we've talked about it, but now that you're in studio, let's break this down. Roman Harper that went 10-2 for the Vols?
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. What does that mean?
Was that a further reach, Todd, than my 3-0?
No, I think 10-2 for the Vols. Actually, yes, 10-2 for the Vols is probably a further reach than you saying 3-0. Because you need so many things to go right. To go 10-2. Obviously, selfishly, I'm hoping I get an Alabama-Tennessee undefeated showdown at Neyland Stadium in the middle of October. But if you go through Tennessee's schedule, I think it's so interesting because you obviously need a little bit of luck for things to go the right direction.
Yes.
But they have so many games, even in their first 5, that are virtual coin flips. Ball State should be a win. Again, hopefully Blaine's not out there listening, going to try and come in and threaten all of us with bodily harm.
No, I think he knows.
The game at Pittsburgh, I mean, that, in my opinion, if this Tennessee team is going to be for real, you have to go on the road to hostile territory, win there. I do think Tennessee fans will travel, and you're going to see a pretty good 50-50 split.
How good do you think Slovis is?
I think that's the $100 million question.
Yeah.
But all of Narduzzi's comments leading up to it and the aftermath of Mark Whipple taking the offensive coordinator job at Nebraska, we didn't run the ball enough, we didn't do this. You had a first-round NFL quarterback. Throw the football. You don't have to bang your head into a brick wall. So I'm curious to see what Slovis brings to the table. Obviously, losing Jordan Addison in your receiving core is a big blow. But this is a Pittsburgh team who is stout, in my opinion, along the defensive line like they've been for so many years. But they don't have a ton of athletes in the back. So if you're able to keep Hendon Hooker upright, there will be some home runs that they can hit over the top. I like the revenge angle that they have from a game that got away from them last year that I'm sure Tennessee fans would have liked to win. And then if you beat Akron the following week, that's where things get interesting.
Todd.
Oh, here we go.
If we beat Akron the following week.
Well, you never know, Slay. It's the ultimate sandwich spot.
This ain't the Georgia State, Tennessee, Todd. We've done away with that. We've rise from the ashes.
I've heard this a lot. I've heard this a lot about Vols football over the last couple of years.
Do you believe in sandwich games?
I do, and I think there are some opportunities. Trust me, Tennessee's going to
Slay. Ifs and fifths.
Slay.
Remain at the liquor store.
Slay, here you go. This is better. This is better for you. When Tennessee gets through Pittsburgh, and they are massive favorites against Akron. You will not get Tennessee to bring their A game against the Zips that week, knowing what they have on deck with a home date against Florida and a road trip to LSU. So I think if you look at the first 5 games of the season for the Vols, 4-1, you have to be thrilled going into the Alabama game because it says this program is taking the trajectory that you anticipated. I think if you're talking 3-2, there should be some legitimate disappointment because it means you most likely been saddled with an SEC loss already.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Okay.
So what do you think about that Tennessee-Florida matchup where these programs are as we sit here in August?
You know, if I'm buying stock, just because I'm such a big fan in Billy Napier, I would be buying stock in the Florida Gators now. Do I think it's a stock that I could buy for a short term and sell it for a profit by the end of 2022? Probably not. But when you look at the infrastructure they're building there, and that was one of the big things through a lot of the reading and research I do all offseason, Napier talking about how extensive the staff was, 50 to 60 individuals who were going to be involved in the program, from nutrition, strength, recruiting, everything that you'd want to see to build that infrastructure from the ground up, I think has Florida on the right path. Billy's going to see it's a little bit different life in the SEC than, of course, what he dealt with at Louisiana. But at the same time, I think Anthony Richardson is an outstanding talent, so he can mask some of their deficiencies that are there. Would I like to see accuracy improve? For sure. Do I think the weapons are there to make that offense elite? Absolutely not. But I think this is a Florida program that you give them 2 to 3 years. It's not going to be hard to completely resurrect from where they are. But if we're talking about the pecking order in the SEC, I'd also look to buy stock in South Carolina. And I think this is where Shane Beamer has an interesting opportunity. If Spencer Rattler goes out there and performs for the Gamecocks this year, South Carolina may be the program that you'd want to be invested in the Palmetto State more so than Clemson, because eventually when you're working at such a budget deficiency like Clemson will be against South Carolina compared to the TV contracts, I think the Gamecocks have a much more positive trajectory than what Dabo and company can do there.
Yeah, the ACC is going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and find a magical mystery bag of cash somewhere that they're going to be able to distribute amongst their member institutions. And from what I've been told, a lot of the high-profile programs that are doing everything they can to get out of the ACC, some of those contracts are airtight, and I don't think it's going to be as simple as snapping their fingers, being able to weasel out. And I'm curious to see how ESPN gets involved to try and raise the overall profile from the ACC, because you don't want to become a second-class citizen in the pecking order that we're starting to see develop in college football, which is currently where the ACC is obviously headed.
Chris Lowe came on last week, and he talked about how he wouldn't be surprised if they come up with a financial structure where Clemson gets more money than other schools, which would set up something really interesting.
Then you're opening a huge can of worms for it. If we're going to create a pecking order or a rev share, or however you want to use the terminology to do that, because if that's happening for Clemson, I'm sure on some level the lawyers at Florida State, the lawyers at Georgia Tech go, this isn't right, this isn't fair, this isn't equitable. Clemson, you know what? You can become an independent or whatever it may look like. So I think we're going to see the economics of college sports continue to evolve. I've told people, though, the most pessimistic view or vision that I have of the way things are going is that college football in its current structure, not just conference-wise, will fail to exist in 10 to 12 years, because you look at all the other college sports that are out there. We've now given athletes a chance, and rightfully so, to pursue their athletic pursuits in a variety of different avenues. I mean, Slay, perfect example in college basketball. If you had to go back and revisit your recruiting to UT and you had, overseas elite, you had the G League and some of the other avenues, it's not just a slam dunk unless you wanted to play college basketball that you can go a different avenue. Hockey, we've had that for years with Major Junior. A lot of the Canadians, they don't want to play in the U.S. collegiate system. It's, I want to be a professional hockey player. Baseball, we've had it. Soccer, we have academies internationally and domestically. Now, football is the only one now where the best pathway to get to the NFL is through the colleges. Let's see with the XFL, the USFL, how all of these things come home to roost.
I got a question for you, Todd. More so a statement, and I want you to stop me when I'm wrong.
So should I stop you before you start, or how's this exercise going to go?
We should start every show like this. Let's see how far you can go.
All right, here we go. Here we go, Todd. You just say stop when you think I'm wrong. Tennessee over 8 wins this year.
You can keep going.
Tennessee finishing second in the SEC East.
I'll let you keep going.
A lot of people talking about Florida, and they always go back to Anthony Richardson. If that's the case, and people can see him going to get wins without the accuracy that we've not seen from him yet.
And the weapons.
Lack of weapons in the first year with Napier. What is the biggest knock on KJ Jefferson with Arkansas, and where do you think they would finish? Is it just because they're in the West that they're not getting a lot of love? Only reason?
That's a big part of it. And I think when you look at Anthony Richardson, I don't think he has had the coaching or a system that really suited his style. I mean, we look at what he's taken as far as reps. I mean, that was the most erratic offense that we saw, where they didn't commit to him and say, hey, look, you're our guy. We're going to let you lead the charge, and we're going to have you go through the inevitable growing pains of playing college football at this level. But you look at the system that Napier wants to run, and we saw at Louisiana with, hey, this isn't meant as a knock, but inferior athletes to what he'll be able to recruit at Florida. And you saw a quarterback there in Levy Lewis that went out there, wasn't asked to do a whole heck of a lot. It was one read, get the ball out quickly, take the deep shots when they're there, but use your legs as an extremely valuable element. For me, when I dug into Arkansas this offseason, and Sam Pittman, I know we've talked about it, has done an outstanding job. Turned around a program that had, 4 wins over 24 games previously in 2 seasons. I think KJ is going to find life without Treylon Burks to be much more difficult, because when you look at what he contributed as far as their passing game, he was the ultimate deodorant. He masked any deficiencies that KJ had in his game. And I think KJ will be able to run the ball effectively, but I just haven't seen enough from him as a polished passer. And look, I'm wrong all the time, and maybe the light goes on and KJ can take that next step. But there ain't a whole lot of wiggle room when you're looking at not just their schedule in the SEC West, but what they're going to play in the non-conference schedule. And I wasn't sure if it was last week or maybe a couple weeks ago that we talked about it. Cincinnati, yes, you're a touchdown favorite, but that's no gimme. Right. And they're going to do everything they can to put 8 men in the box, despite not having a Sauce Gardner on the outside. Luke Fickell is going to make KJ Jefferson beat that defense with his arm. You have a road trip to Provo in the middle of October. So I look at Arkansas, and I think this is a team where you're going to see regression just because the schedule is that much more difficult.
If Arkansas was in the East, would they be the favorite to be the second team?
I'd put them right up there. Yeah. I think they'd be neck and neck with Tennessee vying for that spot.
We met KJ Jefferson at Media Days. That dude is massive.
Oh, he is a large human being.
Mercy.
Yeah. I mean, when he starts running downhill, you can see defensive backs that want no part of that particular transaction. I mean, they're turtling out there to try and do it.
Turtle defense.
Yeah, and then that becomes the key. Get him slowed down, get him moving left to right instead of north to south, because if he's able to break outside the tackle boxes, he's bringing a lot more weight. And on some level, he reminds me of a downhill runner like Cam Newton and what he meant to that Auburn offense.
The visual for the turtle defense, for those that haven't heard that phrase, is the happy baby yoga pose.
Yeah.
On your back. Extremities extended.
That's right.
Maybe feet and hands.
I need to.
Hit us on Zone TV. Todd Fuhrman in studio talking college football. We can talk about the NFL as well. We'll go to Chris in Nashville when we come back. Zone TV, Twitter, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Jaron says, I'm just saying the Gators are going to go 7-5 or 8-4. We have one of the toughest schedules this year, though.
7-5 is fair. I mean, that's a fair expectation. I think that should be deemed a successful season for Florida fans. I know it's not what they want to hear, but in my opinion, just get to a bowl game, get those extra 15 practices in this season when you're going through a coaching transition's a win.
Roger says, Todd, the most interesting guy to listen to based on his massive knowledge. How about that?
I'll take it. That's a compliment. I appreciate it. Thanks, Ron.
Roger, Mayer or Slay, ask him if they have lines on PLL, Premier Lacrosse League. If so, who does that research? I want the job.
They do have lines. Yeah, it's a growing betting market. And I've actually had extensive discussions with the guys from PLL, not going into this season, but in the past, that they realized that they wanted to try and grow some of the awareness for their game. Obviously, you're not going to be able to bet a lot of money on PLL games, but we're starting to see it more and more. And I always tell anyone that's an organizer for a league, regardless if it's the PLL or anything else, once you get the eyeballs, the betting interest will follow. You just have to make sure that that data is accessible. The problem being is the first people that gravitate towards those betting markets are the exact bettors that sportsbooks don't want to deal with. And it's the same discussion I had all weekend long with some of the NASCAR executives when I was at the race at Richmond. Hey, we really want to grow betting handle. We want to do this. I show them what they allow me to bet. And I go, I can bet $11 on this NASCAR race because I've been limited, because we found an edge and we take advantage of it and try and profit quite handsomely from it.
Interesting. Todd Fuhrman, at Todd Fuhrman on Twitter. More with Todd next on 104.5 The Zone.
All natural healthcare, non-pharmaceutical options. LT360 is who you need to call. They deliver answers. They deliver results. And LT360 teaches you how to live your best life. They teach you how to reverse and prevent disease, overcome high cholesterol. Maybe you're tired, you deal with fatigue, you can't sleep at night. They go through that. Obesity, stress, anxiety, all of it, so that you can be present and live your best life. It's cellular health transformation is how they brand it here, and they will discuss weight loss techniques with you, health management, and how to get off medications. They provide you your own coach. I have loved my experiences with LT360, and here's the deal. Their entire goal is to help people and help you. They want you to be healthier. They want you to have more energy. They want you to live life to the fullest, and that's what I've found in my time I've spent with the wonderful people at LT360. You can do the same. Lean on a community that is over 8,000 strong across 29 different states. LT360health.com is the website for you. And the phone number, if you want to call, get a free consultation from them at 615-815-0390. That's LT360 at 815-0390. You guys hear me talk about A Moment's Peace, Salon and Day Spa a bunch. Great place to go relax. But I got another idea for you. How about a spa party? And the reason I thought about this is because you guys know I've been on assignment the last 2 weekends with my girls. Had a couple girls trips, and we all got together and went to the spa together on this last one. And it was amazing and awesome. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm just going to have the girls here. We're going to go to A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. They have spa parties, which is a really cool way to spend some time together. And it can be girls' trip. It can be bachelorette parties. It can be, hey, at work, we just finished a big project, and now we need something to do to relax. So here you go. Call A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa and hop into a spa party. They'll plan everything for you. They'll make it super easy, and it's awesome. Or, hey, maybe you're a guy that wants to really make your significant other happy. Book a spa party for her and her friends. Full day. There you go. Done. You can buy a gift card. They're available 24/7 on their website, amomentspeace.com. Give them a call to book anything, 615-224-0770. They will take care of you if you have any questions or special requests, or just go visit them in person right there at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakersbridge Avenue. It's A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa.
3HL 1045, The Zone. Brent Doherty, Ron Slay with you. Dawn Davenport on assignment. Todd Fuhrman actually sitting in her chair right now.
Mm-hmm.
I told you when it comes to weekdays, you can count on me more reliably being on every Wednesday than we can Dawn
You have
being
said
here.
that before. Yes.
And lo and behold, I come to town. Dawn effectively goes out of
She's
town.
gone.
Yeah,
She's ghost.
she says, "See ya."
Let's jump into the NFL a little bit. Chris in Nashville next up on 3HL. Chris, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Todd. How's it going, fellas?
Hey, it's good, Chris. Thanks for calling, man.
Man, before I get into my question or comment, man, Mr. Slay,
Yes,
I
sir.
just got to say, do not put a ball to your foot with that arthritic hip, my man.
We were talking about Ole Miss's 6'1", 250-pound frat boy kicker earlier.
I mean, I'm talking to a city treasure, a future to be Hall of Famer, man. Don't do it.
I'm
Anyway,
gonna take your advice, man. I'm just hold off on it.
Appreciate you. Thank you. I mean, the voice reasoning is loud. All right, so, Mr. Todd, I'm a big Atlanta Falcons fan. I mean, I love the whole offensive makeup what Arthur brought last year. I mean, with Matt gone, I have high hopes for Mariota, but, man, Desmond Ridder looked really good last week. I know he didn't complete a lot of his passes. I mean, he was a little below 50%, but, man, dude, his poise in the pocket, he did not look like a rookie. The guy looked good. I mean, I don't know what your take on it is and how you think about this offense is going to run, and let's go Falcons, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but I'm sitting on an under 5.5 wins total ticket for the Atlanta Falcons this year. But no, I'm going to be honest here. We know we don't sugarcoat things. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch how this Falcons offense works, because anyone who has watched Marcus Mariota throughout his career knows the element that he can bring to a game with his mobility. We saw the packages that were uniquely designed for him last year in Vegas. We saw what he could do at his absolute peak as a member of the Titans, but at the same time, durability gets called into question. And I think somewhere in that Falcons front office, they may not come out and say it publicly, that a Marcus Mariota injury, hopefully not in any severity, would give them the opportunity to start Desmond Ridder and what I think will be a rebuilding season. Let him begin to build a rapport and chemistry with some of those weapons that you mentioned. Figure out if he can be on the same page as Kyle Pitts, what that's going to look like with Drake London in the receiving game. The problem for both Mariota and Ridder, this Falcons offensive line that was talked about with having so many number one picks, that's the biggest question mark I have for this group, and I think whoever they have under center is going to be running for their lives. As far as the defense is concerned, Chris, it's looking like a full-blown reclamation project. We know they shopped Deion Jones all offseason. There weren't a lot of takers. So unfortunately in the NFL, you'd rather hit rock bottom and be able to rebuild than sit in what I define as NFL purgatory, going 6-11 or 7-10 year in, year out. So I think this is a definite rebuilding campaign for the Falcons roster to get back up to NFL standards.
Hey, there you go. Hope that's what you was looking for.
615-737-1045. I saw an interesting quote from Mike Gundy. Chris Lowe visited. He's doing a Big 12 tour, and he visited with Mike Gundy. Here's his quote today. Let's just cut to the chase. They made a choice to financially secure their athletic departments for the next 12 to 15 years. People can talk about all the reasons, but that's why they did it, all for the money, and took a lot of history out of this league and a lot of history out of college football with them. Now, they're not the first ones to do it. Texas A&M did the same thing when they jumped ship to the SEC in 2012. Mike Gundy not happy, but he's going to be the king of that conference.
At least he thinks for right now. And just tell him, pick up the phone.
Feckle gets it.
Yeah, pick up the phone and tell Boone Pickens to cut a bigger check to try and shore up some of that economic disparity that he's referenced there. But there's no doubt when you look at Mike Gundy and what he's done to the Oklahoma State program, I mean, he has been the model of stability. And I'm curious to see what the transition looks like. Last year wasn't vintage Oklahoma State. It was defense first, less offense. But you can understand why these coaches who coach for that second-tier program, so to speak, in any of these rivalries are going to be disgruntled. And he's right. I mean, college football is built on rivalries, and we're not going to see a lot of those things, unfortunately, going forward. You'd hope these teams can bury their philosophical differences, but I don't think Bedlam is going to be an annual fixture on the college football calendar.
You just fell into the 3HL trap. T. Boone Pickens passed away in 2019.
His estate can cut the check. There's still money in the T. Boone Pickens estate.
People on this show all the time, and like me,
yes,
and like 80% of the time they're no longer
this
with us.
This guy's dead.
Yeah. Cross him off then.
And he's in Dawn's chair doing that.
I'm the only one don't do it.
So you were talking a little bit about that Cincinnati Arkansas thing. Like, how good do you think Cincinnati is coming off that run last year?
There's a lot of optimism that they're not going to lose a lot at the quarterback position, that they have a couple of kids that are going to be able to step in and fill the shoes vacated by Desmond Ridder. Luke Fickell has gone out there, and you talked a little bit going all the way back, Slay, when we were breaking down Vandy, what it takes to build a culture and that continuity. And I think Luke Fickell knows the kind of athlete and knows the kind of kid that he can recruit to his system, and it's going to start to pay dividends, especially when they make that move to the Big 12. You look at this team defensively, the cupboard isn't completely bare. Just tough to replace NFL caliber defensive backs like this team had out there. Sauce Gardner was one of the best, if not the best, in all of college football. You just don't go rinse and repeat at a program like Cincinnati and expect not to miss a beat. But if Arkansas fans go, wow, Cincinnati's lost so many players from last year's team that got boat raced in the college football playoff that it's going to be an absolute layup, they're going to be in for a four-quarter fight, in my opinion. And if Arkansas is able to win the game by 2 touchdowns plus, it'll say more about Arkansas and what expectations they can have this year than where Cincinnati is.
2 wild card teams I got for Todd. Want to do it now or when we get back?
Let's do it when we come back. One more segment with Todd Fuhrman, just flowing with information about college football and the NFL. This is 3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Go up to Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. That's where you need to go to get that next new vehicle. Maybe you've been thinking about how much you dislike the current ride that you have to endure every day. Maybe you have repair bills that are through the roof. Maybe you have something that's unreliable. You don't know if it's going to start when you go in the driveway. Doesn't have to be that way. My friends at Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram can help you out. Whether you're looking for a new or pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or Jeep, they have you covered. The inventory online, GuptonMotors.com. All of the dealership information is right there as well. 30 minutes from downtown Nashville. Take 24 west toward Clarksville. Exit 35, straight shot into beautiful Springfield, Tennessee. 3450 Tom Austin Highway. Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No pressure there on you at all. They simply want you in the vehicle that's right for you. That's what will happen. You'll ask your questions. They will have your answers for you, and you'll take your test drive. You'll go inside. They will help make the numbers work, and it will be that easy. Ken Gupton, Daniel Gupton, the guys are ready to help you into that next new ride. That's Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Good evening from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Joe Hunk. Bucks and Titans start joint practice tomorrow. But before that, Titans had to make some cuts just a little while ago. The Titans announced that they have waived Deontay Burton, Haskell Garrett, Carson Green, Jordan Wilkins, and VFL and wide receiver Josh Malone. The Atlanta Braves got a big win last night to move within a game of the Mets, because they beat the Mets tonight, going at it once again at 6:20. Charlie Morton on the mound for the Braves. And for all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols, the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans and home to 3HL. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. What up, Nashville? Brent Doherty with you. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Ron Slay is here.
Let's go, baby. I'm in the building.
Hey, I'm in the building. I'm in the building. I'm in the building.
I'm in the building.
I'm in the building. I'm in the building.
Don Davenport is not here. We've subbed in Todd Fuhrman, who is in town and sitting in Don's seat in studio.
Okay. It's Todd's song now.
Yeah, you can deal with that one later. Talking a lot of football. Todd, let's talk about the Titans. What is their number? What do you think about them? Because Vrabel is going to go over based on history.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this Titans team, they have exceeded expectations, and it's a credit to a head coach that we didn't think that highly of when you watched the way that this Titans team was built, because they were a little bit sluggish defensively. And when a team doesn't reflect its coach's DNA, which in this case should be defense first with Mike Vrabel, you begin to wonder how everything will fit together. Fast forward the last couple of years, we've seen them become a run-first offense, work effectively off of play action, and Ryan Tannehill has reaped the benefits, the playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals notwithstanding. But when you look at all the buzz around the Colts, I can understand why. I mean, I was a buyer, as you guys know all too well, in the Colts last season. I think
and the season before that.
And the season before that, which, I was reminded that I don't think they've won the division since 2014 or thereabouts. But I look at the way the Colts are priced now, and I think it is an extremely fair indication of where they are, with Matt Ryan to give them a stabilizing force under center, knowing that they can lean on Jonathan Taylor. And all accounts are that Frank Reich wants to limit that workload potentially, get Nyheim Hines more involved, and see if Michael Pittman can take the next step as being a true number one receiver, which is a long-winded way of saying we're getting back to a Titans team that's typically thrived when they're under the radar. But I look at this current roster construction, and I have major concerns. I think every Titans fan should. You guys mentioned the offensive line. What will that group look like? And if they're unable to try and create holes for Derrick Henry, who we know is a human battering ram in his own right, does it put a lot more pressure on a passing game that really needs guys to develop and emerge as reliable options? As optimistic as you could be about Burks and what he can be project to be as a first-round pick, this is still a guy that has never seen an NFL snap. So it's tough to learn the position, step right in from day one, and become a bona fide superstar. The one thing that I think can work in the Titans' favor is you have an early bye week. So if there are things that have gone awry, and say in a worst-case scenario, maybe they're 2-3 during that stretch, you can go back to the drawing board. You have 2 weeks to try and figure it out and work through some of those kinks. And we kind of threw out the scenario, if things really got off the rails for the Titans, would they consider going to Malik Willis to figure out what they had? I think it's Ryan Tannehill's job until proven otherwise. He'd have to play pretty poorly, even in the wake of some of those comments he said about not mentoring a younger quarterback, being in a dark place in the wake of that playoff loss. So I look at the Titans, and I think their win total is extremely fair, set right around the 500 mark. It's not a team, to be honest, that I have strong expectations for in a positive or negative manner. So I'll kind of take a wait-and-see approach week to week.
So how do you guys come up with your power number when you have a situation like the Titans have in the passing game with two rookie wide receivers who are in the top four?
You kind of go
on the
through,
rotation.
Yeah, you kind of go through and figure out what a player rating is going to be. So obviously, A.J. Brown, when he's 100%, is a significant upgrade over Treylon Burks. Now, from a betting standpoint, we can say those things when you're running an organization. There are a lot of other things that go into the equation when you're figuring out what kind of business decisions need to be made. So you want to try and see where these guys are along their route tree during preseason. You don't make overarching generalizations, but you're going to do an awful lot early on. I mean, week one is pretty telling for where some of these teams will be. And we always say you don't want to overreact as a sports bettor to one data point, but you also don't want to underreact in the National Football League because things can get sideways in a hurry. And if we see this Titans passing game operating in fits and spurts, it's going to make it significantly easier for subsequent opponents like the Bills, like the Raiders, the Colts, and the Commanders going over the next couple of weeks to load the box and go, hey, we want to see these receivers perform. Can they create separation if they're out on an island? And are they able to win one-on-one matchups? If they're not, Derrick Henry is going to have to lead the league in broken tackles.
When you think about this defense, which I label as nasty last year, this year I'm labeling them filthy. So do you look at them and when you start to think numbers, is this kind of like, I hate to compare college and NFL, but it's kind of like that Georgia defense when you're looking at the over-under of games?
I think the big question I have for this Titans defense is, will that pass rush be sustainable? I mean, that was a real surprise that opened everyone's eyes last year in the betting community and among some of the media folks because you didn't know that they could rush the passer the way they were able to do. When you look at the guys in the secondary, I mean, there's some talent to really like. I mean, I was a big fan of Christian Fulton when he was at LSU. I was a little bit surprised when they took Caleb Farley as high as they did out of Virginia Tech, knowing the back issues, and we haven't seen him obviously play a full 17 games. I think Kevin Byard has come a long way in terms of what kind of things he can do patrolling center field. And Amani Hooker, in my opinion, was a little bit of a value deal where there may be something left in the tank that he can do that. But if you're not able to get pressure with the front four, you have to blitz a lot more. Suddenly these guys are exposed on an island, and it really changes what they're able to accomplish. But Jeffrey Simmons has turned into an absolute beast, and I think the Titans should be thrilled with what they have there. Harold Landry on the opposite side has done the same, and Bud Dupree, when he's healthy and out there, he was born to rush the passer. Not going to give you much else as a defender, but he's going to get out there and rush the passer. I'm curious to see what these linebackers look like in coverage because I haven't been a big Zach Cunningham guy in that particular regard. But I think the defense has as many questions that have to be answered early on as the offense does, figuring out if they can be balanced.
Yeah, Cunningham's a great example of a thumper.
Yeah, he wants to come downhill, but sometimes that eye discipline isn't there. And if you're running play action and he gets caught running downhill, you see a tight end sneaking out right down the middle of the field.
Who do you like in the AFC West?
The Chargers, for me, from a pure value standpoint, but the one caveat I'll put on that is when you look at the price to win the division, that number's come down. 4-1 was widely available earlier this offseason. I wouldn't tell people to run to the window and bet them at plus 225. Now, I would say if you shop around and you're able to get 15 or 16-1, probably worth a small investment to try and tie up, because when you're talking about this roster from 1 to 53, they're as talented as any team in the league, if not the single most talented team. And when you talk about, Brandon Staley and all the criticism that he had about aggressive mentality, he hasn't shied away from it. And I think the fact that he's willing to own that, knowing some of the weapons that he has there in a franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, in a backfield that may be a little bit deeper, even with Austin Eckler being injury prone, I think Isaiah Spiller can be a sleeper for a lot of the fantasy guys out there if they're trying to figure out some of their depth. And Joshua Palmer, in my opinion, is a good number 3 receiver opposite Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. But more importantly, the Achilles heel for this Chargers team last year was a run defense that would give up 5 yards as soon as they got off the bus to any mundane running back. And so you bring in a guy like Sebastian Joseph Day to kind of fill some of those gaps. If this run defense can just be average, when you add a player the talent of a J.C. Jackson in the secondary, this team is going to be a difficult out. And it kills me to say that because I know how trendy the Chargers have kind of become, but I really believe in them. However, anyone in the AFC West shouldn't be sleeping on the Chiefs because when they don't have any pressure on them, I mean, this is a team that I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can take the us against the world mentality and kind of adopt that underdog mantra.
So that Vegas, Las Vegas Raiders that I'm looking at Superbook plus 525 to win the division, which you pretty good.
I can't buy into the Raiders. I mean, I like the addition of Devontae Adams. I think
they just go get a lot of names, Todd?
Well, I mean, I think they needed a little bit of sizzle there. Yeah. I mean, you saw Green Bay trying to do what they could to secure Devontae Adams. Is this contract going to look as good 3 years down the road? Probably not. I mean, when these receivers fall off a cliff, it happens fast. Derek Carr, I think, is one of the NFL's more underrated quarterbacks. Probably doesn't get enough credit for what he's done. But this is also a defense, in my opinion, that overachieved last year. I don't love their ability to get after the quarterback while people are optimistic. Hey, look, you have Chandler Jones, you pair him up with Max Crosby, things are going to be fine. There are a lot of questions in that secondary, and I think that in that division where you have such elite quarterback play is going to put them in a tough spot. And you dig into the Raiders, this was a team that was taking on water extremely quickly late in the year. They had the improbable win on Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys. And you look at some of the offensive numbers before that game against the Chargers, 17 to 20 points week in, week out. I just think the Raiders have their hands full. I lean under their win total, and I definitely don't see them as a value proposition to win the division.
Who's the other AFC team? Is it Buffalo?
Buffalo is interesting because – as you know, when we talk about these teams, it's all looking at them through the lens of how they're being priced in the market. So Buffalo being the favorite to win the Super Bowl for me makes them overvalued. Does that mean they're a bad football team? No, absolutely not. But I do think it's going to bear watching to see what this offense looks like with Ken Dorsey as a first-time offensive coordinator compared to Brian Daboll. We'll see how the ground game can be a little bit more balanced. But Sean McDermott in the past was very critical, saying we don't need to be a pass-first team. In the NFL, passing is significantly more efficient than running the ball. And if I have a franchise quarterback, especially in passing situations, if Allen takes off from the pocket, we saw what he could do on scrambles. So McDermott's going to try and limit some of that. This may be a Buffalo offense that takes a step back, and as a result, could cost people quite a bit of money on a week-in, week-out basis.
Where do you find value in the NFC?
I mean, this is such a muddled mess, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch because you really have a separation of the haves and have-nots. I mean, there is no true middle class in the NFC, and now with questions swirling in Tampa with Tom Brady, what that situation looks like, Green Bay has to answer plenty in their own right as far as some of their weaponry. And we go across the landscape. The Rams, another one, Matthew Stafford's elbow. And does Cooper Kupp regress, or how does that group look? So I don't think there's a clear front runner for me by any stretch of the imagination. And if I'm trying to make a case for a little bit of a dark horse, it would be the Minnesota Vikings. As tough as it is to say, because we know Kirk Cousins is erratic at best, but getting an offensive-minded head coach to work with a transcendent talent at wide receiver in Justin Jefferson, they have a good 1-2 punch in the backfield. They have some unheralded weapons in a guy like Irv Smith and Adam Thielen, and even KJ Osborne, if he can take the next step. Throw in Danielle Hunter, suddenly you have a pass rush that can solidify that defense a little bit more. I think the Vikings are a team, if you're looking to take a long shot in the NFC, things may shape up quite nicely for this team to make some noise.
So outside of value, Super Bowl matchup, what do you think?
It's so hard for me when I look at all of it to try and make a case for teams not factoring in the gambling component of things.
Right.
But I'll take the Chargers in the AFC right now if you're making me pick there. And if I'm looking to try and go out of the NFC, hell, let's live a little dangerously. Let's go Chargers, Vikings, Super Bowl, and have every TV executive absolutely cringing because they don't have a single media market that they can rally around.
I love it. Hey, good to see you, man.
Hey,
Thanks for popping in.
It's been a while.
Face to face, Todd.
It's been a while. And now that Slay has another potential endeavor where he can hurt a hamstring and punting a football along with running a 40-yard dash, he may never be 100% in his pursuit to relive some of that athletic glory, Brent.
I'm going to see the orthopedic doctor real soon, so I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, he had an announcement last Friday that he has arthritis.
You need a little massage therapy.
That's
you need
right.
a little chiropractor visit.
Yoga.
You need a little TLC all the way around. I mean, Slay, I can only pick on you so much. I mean, I got to go to a performance doctor. I don't know what I'm performing for athletically, but I wake up, my shoulder hurts, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts. They're cracking joints in my body I didn't even know existed.
That's
so good after that.
Bet the Board podcast. Check it out. It'll get you ready for the football season. They've got everything on the website too. Thank you, Todd. Good stuff.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And tell Dawn she's officially on the hot seat.
Yes, she is.
You can tell her. We'll be right back. Phil Steele jumping in the mix next on 104.5 The Zone.
All right, here we go now. Let me get your attention just for a second. Classroom, listen to me. Take out your notepad, take out your pens, take out your pencils, whatever you got. Listen, thehomeloanexpert.com. Tap in. From new home loans to refinances, get the competitive rates, top-notch customer service, and approved with the 5-minute loan approval at thehomeloanexpert.com. And don't forget, this offer right here, this is what you can stamp on it. The 10-day closing guarantee. When we're speaking about interest rate info, refis, cash out refi, purchases, listen, money is short. You know what I mean? It's at a loss for people. So I'm telling you how to get back to it. If you have your home, you got to know that that's your biggest asset, man. So pull out of it. I mean, it only makes sense. Now, the home loan expert, they can get you more bread, more money, more moolah. That's what it is. And with home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. By not owning credit card companies with high interest rate, no owing money, you're putting hundreds of thousands, if not more than that, in your pocket. Tap in with thehomeloanexpert.com. That's Ron Kelly and thehomeloanexpert.com. What's up, good people, man? Listen, you're probably riding around with a banged up car. Let me fix that for you. Not only me, but Babsy will fix it for you, too. And Apple Collision Centers. That's where you need to go. It's locally and American owned for over 48 years right here in Middle Tennessee.
I was going to say, you're probably riding around with a banged up car, but then again, 2 of the 3 in this studio are right now. So Apple Collision Centers, that's where you need to go. You can go to Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Old Hickory.
Now, you got to understand, you'll probably have a lot of questions, like, what about my insurance? I mean, can I get a rental? Listen, they will help. They will work with you with your insurance and even help arrange a rental. They even do towing.
Yes, Apple Collision Centers also sprays only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes.
Now, they will do free estimates and do repairs from hail damage, auto accidents, dents, and more.
Those repairs, they only put the OEM parts in. What does that mean? Original equipment manufacturer parts, which means your car is going to be restored back to its old glorious self. Visit applecollisioncenters.com. Schedule a free estimate. Learn more there. Welcome back into 3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Dawn Davenport, Brent Doherty, Ron Slay, Joe Hunk behind the glass, and everybody. College football is here. Well, I guess technically it's like 12 days away from week 0, but as far as I'm concerned, college football is here. And as soon as I got my Phil Steele magazine in the mail, that's when college football starts.
And I was jealous, Babsy. I'm gonna need to go out and find mine as well. So,
well, how about this? I got a guy. I know a guy.
You know a guy?
I know a guy.
Who would that guy be?
He happens to be with us right now. Phil Steele. How are you, Phil?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you guys this fine day?
Oh, cannot wait for this season to start. First off, for those that, which surely everybody knows about the Bible, but for those that don't know, Phil Steele's 2022 college football preview magazine is out, over 350 pages. It is so helpful. Everybody, at least in the business that works for ESPN, always awaits arrival of it. And this is what, year 27 or 28? What is it now, Phil?
28th year of the magazine. So makes me appear a little old, but that's not the case.
How has the process, I'm just curious, big picture, how has the process, because it's packed with information, how has that process changed for you putting this together?
You know, let me give you a clear example, Dawn. It's a 7-month process, by the way, to do this magazine. We start the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and we send the last page of the press June 8th. And between that, we're only working on one thing, college football. I don't even know basketball players' names or baseball players' names. I just work on college football year
Phil,
round.
You don't have to do basketball like that, but go ahead.
Sorry about that, Ron. But the first process is what I call the postseason right through. I've just watched every game for the entire season, and now I read every article that was written about that team all year. Really gets everything fresh in my head. All the ebbs and flows, the injuries, the performances at each position, and then we do the first right through process. Well, when I did that this year, I had USC in the middle of the road of the Pac-12 South because they were 4-8 last year. They only had 11 returning starters, and they had a first-year head coach. The second right-through process is after we get the pre-spring roster and add in the freshmen. And they started moving up a little bit. But then the third one is after I talked to the head coaches. And this year I talked to 120 of the 131 head coaches. And ironically, I'm talking to Coach Lincoln Riley the day they signed Jordan Addison from Pitt. Now all of a sudden, USC has got Caleb Williams, my number one quarterback out of high school, who started Oklahoma the second half last year. Mario Williams, my number 2 wide receiver out of high school, who played great at Oklahoma last year. The Biletnikoff winner in Jordan Addison, a 1,000-yard rusher in Travis Dye. Coach Riley told me he liked what he had inherited on the offensive line, didn't expect to have that much talent on hand. And defensively, he adds another 12 or 13 transfers, including a guy like Shane Lee, who had 13 starts at Alabama as a true Frosh. Now, all of a sudden, USC is my number 1 most improved team in the country and a legitimate contender in the South. So it really shows you the difference now as opposed to maybe 5-10 years ago when the transfer portal wasn't around.
Yeah, and everything is changing because it's funny, Phil. I worked Pittsburgh spring game for ACC Network, and Jordan Addison was still on the team, and I came back. I told the boys, I'm like, y'all, Pittsburgh is going to be tough because obviously Tennessee gets to see him, whatever. I'm like, man, they've got Addison, Keaton Slovis transferred in, this, and then all of a sudden Addison's gone. So everything changes for that Pittsburgh team even.
Yeah, and I still, I was just like you, Don. I had them very high. In fact, I had them potential top 10 team, but they're still my number 1 surprise team this year. I think, if you follow Pitt, and I'm sure you were there talking to Coach Narduzzi, you know that defensively they always lose like 2 to 3 players the NFL draft off that D-line. This year they got the whole D-line back, and the same unit that had 54 sacks last year. I think that defense is nasty. Offensively, I like Slovis. I like the run game with Abanconda and Davis. The offensive line's got all 5 starters back. And I think Kenyatta Mumfield, the Akron transfer, is going to surprise at the wide receiver position. But this a Pitt team that wouldn't surprise me at all if they were still in there in the mix for the ACC title game this year.
Phil Steele with us on 3HL, philsteele.com. So talking about some of those better teams in the country, you mentioned USC. Let's go to Alabama and Georgia. Nick Saban said, last year was kind of a rebuilding year. How do you break down those two programs as we head into 2022?
I sort of agree when you look at Bama last year. I mean, usually Bama coasts through the season, right? Very few close games during the course of the year. Last year they only had 3 returning starters on offense, and they had to replace their quarterback. And you look at their games. I mean, the Florida game, they were outgained by over 100 yards in that game, barely survived a 2-point conversion. They lose to Texas A&M. LSU, they were a huge favorite, and in a sloppy game, barely won by 6, and they should have lost Auburn last year. They trailed that thing, needed a miracle late touchdown, and then 4 overtimes to beat Auburn, or they don't even make the playoff last year. It was an Alabama team that could easily have had 3 or 4 losses during the course of the year. This year, I don't see any of those weaknesses. And, a quick note about the powers this year is that last year when I talked to the head coaches, I would say the majority of them, 90% of them, said, Phil, this is the deepest team I've ever had. We were able to go 3 deep in the spring. We've never been able to do that before. It's because of COVID. Everybody was back. The only teams that didn't have that advantage were the superpowers because they all lost players to the NFL. And look what happened. Clemson not only didn't win the ACC, they weren't in the ACC title game. Ohio State not only didn't win the Big Ten, they didn't even make the Big Ten title game. Oklahoma didn't win the Big 12. They didn't even make the Big 12 title game. And as I just mentioned, Alabama could easily have had 3 or 4 losses last year. But this year, I think we see a return to the powers. Bama simply got Bryce Young, the Heisman winner on offense, and perhaps the best defensive player in the country, and Will Anderson. Now they've got 7 starters back on D, 5 on offense. They're in much better shape. And for the flaws that Alabama had, Nick Saban goes out and brings in Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, who is going to really surprise a lot of folks this year out of Georgia Tech. He plucks Georgia's top receiver from him in Jermaine Burton. He needs a left tackle, so he goes to Vanderbilt and gets Tyler Steen, a very underrated left tackle, one of the best in the country, and he probably needed a little help in the secondary, so he gets one of the best cornerbacks in Eli Ricks. So he didn't use the transfer portal much, but when he did, he struck gold, and Alabama does look like the number 1 team. Now, Georgia lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. 8 players in the NFL draft, 5 first-round draft picks, but they usually rotate, usually 3 teams during the course of a game, so a lot of players have experience. They also have a lot of talent. And Georgia's defense is not going to be as good as last year when they allowed just 10 points per game, but my computer has them allowing 16 points per game, which is still a top 3 defense. And offensively, a more veteran offensive line, a deep set of running backs, best tight end room in the country, and Stetson Bennett's a guy that's won a national title as a QB. I've got both Georgia and Alabama a double-digit favorite in every game this year.
Wow.
Speaking of Georgia,
okay, like that.
This is Slay's first, I guess, in person, I put in quotes, visit with you, Phil. So he's like, this is awesome. Yeah. This is all in the magazine, by the way. Phil Steele with us. Let's stick with the SEC East because obviously, we're here in Nashville. There are a lot of Tennessee Vol fans. And, the big question when we were at SEC Media Days was, okay, well, who's next in the East? Well, I think that your predicted order there kind of surprises some people. So kind of hit us with who's next in the East.
Yeah, I actually have Tennessee second in the East this year. And, I'm going to go back to a game from 2 years ago when Ole Miss was playing Alabama. Ole Miss did not have the team Alabama did, but they sure had a potent offense. And in the fourth quarter, they're trading scores. That game is tied in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss had a shot at knocking off Alabama. Tennessee's a team that's got that type of offense this year. Last year, they averaged 39 points per game in Josh Heupel's first season, and that was when Hendon Hooker was a little late to the party. Didn't start him at the beginning of the year, took over the job. Now Hendon Hooker is fully in control of the QB position. They have a veteran offensive line. They've got a deep set of running backs led by Jabari Small, and they also have my a top-rated wide receiver unit. My computer in the front of the magazine calls for Tennessee to average 45 points per game this year, and like Mississippi 2 years ago, that gives them a puncher's chance in every single game. That means the Alabama game at home, at Georgia. I've got them a 10-point dog in both those games, but they've got a chance. The Pitt game on the road is going to be another really important one. But I think when you look at the defense, their defense wasn't overwhelming last year, but all 3 units rank in my top units in the front of the magazine. They'll be improved. And then they have my number 10 special teams. Not a lot of folks even look at special teams, but Chase McGrath at kicker, Paxton Brooks at punter, they're solid in that area. So I think Tennessee has that puncher's chance of hanging there with Georgia at the end of the year. And then the rest of the division, I've got Florida up there, and I think Florida was a team that underachieved last year. I mean, they get to mid-year, they lose a couple of close games, and then all of a sudden Mullen's under fire. Then all of a sudden the press conferences talking about recruiting. Billy Napier's a guy that gets the job done. He's got a great quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who I think is really going to take off this year and have a great year. He's got a lot of talent on defense, and I like the run game. It's all a good fit for the offense. Kentucky, everybody's talking about them because they had 10 wins last year, but look at their road schedule. They have to play Florida on the road, they have to play Mississippi on the road, they have to play Tennessee on the road, and they play Georgia at home. I've got them an underdog in all 4 of those games. Kentucky's good. They will be a threat, but I think the schedule keeps them from being that number 2 team. And then the one I'm scared of is South Carolina. I picked them 5th in the East, but Shane Beamer last year, the over-under on South Carolina was 3.5, and they got the 7 wins. This year, the over-under is 6, and he's got a quarterback, which is something he didn't have last year. If you followed South Carolina, they had a freshman quarterback in Luke Doty who got injured. They had a couple of average journeyman quarterbacks in Brown and Nolan, but this year they got Spencer Rattler. Solid offensive line, the defense is good, and the special teams are top-notch, always with a Beamer squad. So I think those 5 teams, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, are your main contenders in the East. But I went with Tennessee as the number 2 team.
Well, I like all of that, Phil. Now, you buttering my bread on this one. 45 points, man. I don't know what I'm going to do at a tailgate. If they score 45 points, I'm going to fall out at 28. But this is what I want to know. How dare you, Phil, put a team 3rd over a basketball school like Kentucky? Now, what's going on with that? Will Levis, though, being rated that high, you don't think they can get it done on the road with a veteran quarterback?
I do think Will Levis is an NFL prospect. There's no doubt about it. But, when you look at his what he did last year, he had some great games. But he also had a lot of pedestrian games last year. In fact, there was actually 8 times last year he threw for under 200 yards. They've got a new offensive coordinator coming in. They lose their star receiver. I mean, I thought Wan'Dale Robinson was a threat to score anytime he touched the ball. They also lose Josh Ali. So they're very inexperienced at the receiver position. And like I said, Levis last year in the 13 games, 8 times threw for under 200 yards. So that's why that and the schedule has me picking Kentucky 4th. And it had nothing to do with the basketball school.
Well, I'm sure Stoops will be happy about that.
Phil Steele with us, philsteele.com. Obviously, I think a lot of people have Alabama winning it all, that it's going to be tough to uproot them this season after their rebuild last year. Who can beat Alabama nationally?
I think the team that's got the best shot is clearly Ohio State. And, I talked about earlier how Ohio State wasn't even in the Big Ten title game. But when you look at them, they've got 3 Heisman Trophy candidates on offense. C.J. Stroud at quarterback, Travion Henderson at running back, and Jackson Smith-Njigba at the receiver spot. And the thing about Smith-Njigba is that last year he was playing with a pair of first-round picks at wide receiver, and yet he broke the school record for receiving yards in a season. A remarkable accomplishment. The offensive line was shaky last year. This year it's much improved. I rated number 3 in the country. And defensively, they were not strong. They didn't play up to their talent level. In fact, last year they played 5 ranked teams, and in those games gave up 31 points per game and 415 yards per game. But they bring in Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State. They've got a lot of talent, a ton of VHTs across the board there, and I think they will have a much improved defense. I actually have Ohio State a double-digit favorite in every game this year. I think they're on a collision course with Alabama for that national title game.
Can Vanderbilt win more than 2.5 games?
Come on, Phil.
I thought you were going to ask me if they could win the East. So I would. I think it's. I would say this: they open up with those first 2 games, Hawaii and Elon. They're going to win both of those. Hawaii's in a rebuilding mode, and Elon is an FCS team. So they open up 2-0. They just have to win 1. I think their best bet could be Northern Illinois, although Northern Illinois is tough. Wake Forest might not have their quarterback. I would probably go over on that one in the fact that Clark Lee is building this team the right way. Last year, the defense only had 9 sacks. I think they'll be better. The linebackers are the strength of the unit. And my computer is actually calling for them to average 21 points per game. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but that would be their highest total in 4 years. So it won't be easy playing in the SEC, but I'd probably go with the over because you're opening up the season 2-0 and you just need 1 upset.
Well, I love that because I started a crusade for Vandy fans. They don't get a lot of love, so I said they will go in. You want to explain that to them?
Unexpected crusade from a former Vol SEC Player of the Year in basketball.
Started the Vandy train here.
Hey, I should work for Red Cross, man. I got a big heart. I like to give donations, so this is my donation to Vandy. But outside of that, man, give me this, Phil. Outside of the SEC, we gotta keep our side eye on Texas and Oklahoma. What will we expect from those guys this year?
Well, I think Oklahoma is a team that's going to return to power, despite the fact they only have 5 returning starters on offense and 5 on defense. They bring in a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. And the thing about Gabriel, he's not your typical transfer quarterback in this. Back in 2019, he led UCF to one of the most potent offenses in the country. His offensive coordinator was Jeff Lebby. Guess who his offensive coordinator is at Oklahoma? It's Jeff Lebby. So he knows the offense. They've got a very good offensive line, one that I rate number 8 in the country. Defensively, Brett Venables knows defense at Clemson. You know that. And he's got some talent to work with. I think their defense will be improved. And the receiving core is going to surprise you with Mims and Weiss, and they brought in a couple of transfers. Now, last year, their 2 losses were both on the road to Oklahoma State and Baylor. A couple of those teams, Baylor had practically everybody back. Oklahoma State had the entire defense back. Meanwhile, Oklahoma did not. They had lost players to the NFL. This year they get both of them at home. And Oklahoma, the last 3 years that they've had crowds in the stadiums, 18, 19, and 21, is a perfect 20-0 at home. So I like Oklahoma to perhaps even run the table in the Big 12. Now, 3 of my 9 sets of power ratings say Texas is the best team in the Big 12, but I crinkle that up at the end of every year. FBI's got them to number 1 in the Big 12. They have the talent, but can Texas ever live up to that talent? It's a big question. But I will say this, almost every second-year head coach I talk to says what much better shape they're in. They now know the players' strengths and weaknesses. The players now know the systems, and they've had their first real recruiting class come in. They've got 14 returning starters. I do think Texas will be a much improved team and in contention to play Oklahoma in that Big 12 title game this year. So they're both loaded up for this season. But I don't think you're going to see them run the table once they get to the SEC.
Phil Steele here with us. Phil, just on the way out, I, of course, have to ask about my Auburn Tigers.
Oh, here we go. Well, there we go.
Is there enough on that roster to help Tank Bigsby?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. In fact, I think Auburn's one of the more underrated teams in the country this year, picked 7th in the SEC West. And I think the narrative on Auburn would be a lot different if they held on to that. If Bigsby doesn't run out of bounds, I think we have a different narrative of Auburn right now because they would have beat Alabama, had a winning season last year, probably taken that momentum and won the bowl game. And, a lot of talk about Harsin, what kind of toxic thing it is, a lot of players leaving. I've been doing this for 28 years. I have seen a lot of first-year head coaches come in, and those coaches that a lot of times weed out all the bad apples, like happened, I think, at Auburn, have a very good second year. And I think the players that are left at Auburn are solid. And you look at Auburn in my rankings in front of the magazine, I've got my number 10 rated offensive line in the country, number 9 rated defensive line. Naturally, the running backs are solid. Special teams are number 5. Biggest question mark's quarterback. I need to have Calzada or Finley step up. But I think Auburn opens up the season 5-0, and they're 5-0 when they travel to face Georgia. And we're going to have a lot different narrative on Auburn at that point than it is coming into the season where they're picked last in the SEC West.
Stop dancing.
Like
Why are you dancing?
Because I like to hear that. Everybody just hears about what a debacle it is on the plains, and it's not on the inside, though. Yes. Thanks, Phil.
No problem, Don. Always trying to help.
All right, Phil Steele. You can get the book, philsteele.com. Thank you for the visit. Always good to talk with you. We feel like football nerds now.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks for having me on. I always love talking football with you guys. We should do this more often.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, more 3HL coming up. Stay tuned on 104.5 The Zone.
I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Banks are great for car loans, but when you need a home loan, you need an expert. We'll get you pre-approved the day you call in, lower rates, and with our 21-day
Kaiser
closing
shows
guarantee,
look it up.
You'll be in your dream home.
She's here, and then poof, she's gone. New Brakes. Need to check them out online, newbrakes.com. This is a mobile brake repair service where they come to you to fix your brakes. We all have things to do. We have sports to watch, right? So let New Brakes send a certified brake tech wherever you are to fix your brakes. And that's not all. New Brakes is more affordable than getting your brakes fixed at a dealership or a repair shop. They use premium brake parts. They warranty all of their work, so you know it's always done right. And they're backed by thousands of 5-star reviews. Go to the website. It's an incredible service, newbrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com. Get an instant online quote. Choose your repair date. Then they come to you to fix your brakes. Convenience at its finest. Tell them you're a Zone listener. You will get 10% off. It's newbrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
All right. I know for a lot of kids, school is back in, but guess what? It's still pool season, right? You got a couple of weekends of that left, and maybe mom and dad need a cocktail. How about a kickstand cocktail? The only canned cocktail dedicated solely to spice, only 105 calories, no added sugar, 3 grams of carbs, kickstand cocktails, so crushable because they have zero aftertaste. And we know we've had them on this show, during the show before. Roasted jalapeno cucumber, that is my favorite, a crushable, refreshing introduction to spice. You got the mellow heat from the jalapeno. It's cut perfectly with a little cucumber, little subtle hints of white grape. It is yummy. Maybe you like more spice. Torched peach chipotle. Crafted for those ready to greet the heat with their next cocktail. Perfect for pool season on a beautiful weekend. Every sip begins with the crisp taste of sweet peaches and ends with a little bold, spicy finish of torched chipotle peppers. You will want more than one. And guess what? You can have more than one because there is zero aftertaste. You try it, you'll love it. Kickstand cocktails. That's Kickstand. Real spirits, crushable spice.
3HL 104.5 The Zone, man. We've hit football hard today with Todd Fuhrman and Phil Steele.
That's what the people want. That's what the people get, yo.
I mean, it's that time of year, Slay.
That's absolutely right. It feels like it outside, too. It was a stretch while I was talking.
It was kind of weird that Dawn was able to just pop in real quick.
She has a magic carpet.
She impresses me every day. Something different.
Magic carpet.
I saw it.
That was amazing.
I saw it when she came
Is that a Disney movie that I missed?
Yes, Aladdin.
I never saw Aladdin.
There's 2 Aladdins, actually. There's a cartoon and a live action where Will Smith plays Aladdin.
Huh? Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will Smith plays Aladdin.
I'm out, Slay Dog. But I am in on Hard Knocks tonight.
Me too.
Texans.
Yep.
Texans.
No, Lions, man.
I'm looking at a picture
You
of the
Bears. You just naming bad teams. Whatever bad team you can name of is on Hard Knocks
the other
tonight.
day, she said I had football Tourette. I was just screaming out there.
Yeah.
Lions. I mean, Texans. I mean, what?
I mean, similar. How about that? Similar teams.
I mean, if that was the first game of the season, standalone Texans and Lions, we'd all be in. We would all be in.
Then halftime would come.
Slay would have a parlay going.
I would. I'm guilty.
We'd have a bourbon.
We would.
There'd be a cigar involved.
This is all factual.
Lions and Texans. That's what they should have done. They shouldn't start with like the best teams. They should start with the worst possible game
and build up.
Because everybody would watch it. Like these ridiculous Thursday night games they throw out there where they try to get 2 bad teams in one shot so they don't have to play them again.
Yeah.
Just start the season that way.
Everybody will watch because we're starving for football.
Titans cut some guys. We talked about that earlier. They also just added a guy that the Chiefs cut who they just traded for. Does that make sense? Lonnie Johnson.
You mixed it up on me.
Defensive back.
Okay.
The Chiefs acquired him in a trade 3 months ago where they sent a conditional 7th-round pick to the Texans. He's 26 years old. He had 3 combined tackles in the preseason loss to the Bears for the Chiefs. He was seen as an intriguing flyer for Kansas City because of his size and versatility, but the Chiefs have apparently seen all they needed to make this decision. In 44 career games for the Texans, Johnson recorded 172 combined tackles, 13 passes defensed, and 3 interceptions. This cut comes just over a week after Kansas City released former first-round pick DeAndre Baker.
So the young man is active.
26 years old. He's actually the old guy in the room now, right?
26. Yeah, that's very true. Some young dogs out there.
What do you think, Hunk? Lonnie Johnson. Sounds like a baseball player from the 80s.
Because I think actually it was. I feel like he had those pants like halfway up his calf.
I'm thinking of Lonnie Smith.
Lonnie Smith was an Atlanta Brave for a period of time when they played in the 91 series. That's exactly right.
Football Tourette's. Lonnie Smith!
You always scream it. That's not
Kurt Bavacqua.
That's not the guy you were.
So the cornerbacks, I mean, we talked about how young they are there.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Farley.
You know what?
I'm just going to stop there. Christian Fulton, Roger McCreary.
That's it. Just one of them.
Guess what we got coming up tomorrow?
Joint practice. It's time to hit.
They smoking joints at practice? What if they did, man?
Well, it was sponsored. Jake from Brentwood would be there.
Like if they had practice and then they had like a smoking section over at the side.
Like it's 1975 smoking section over there.
Yeah,
like
Lonnie Johnson would be over there. He sounds like a guy that would.
I would say Lonnie Smith, but I think he just died.
No.
Seriously?
No. Are you kidding me? I almost got through the show without random guy dying.
I hope he didn't.
I'm researching now because I really do think he just did.
Lonnie Smith. No, he's 66. He's still with us.
Okay, he's still good. I was about to say I screwed up the Aladdin thing.
Yeah.
Will Smith didn't play Aladdin. He actually played the genie.
I thought Shaq played Aladdin.
He plays Kazam.
Oh.
You're in the right ballpark. You're in the right ballpark.
He's a genie. It comes out of a boombox, but he is a genie.
Lonnie Smith is still with us. He's in Chicago in case you need him. Go check him out. Coach Mac, Alan Bell, Jim Wyatt, all tomorrow.
Hump day.
Love it. Tampa Bay in town, but not Tom Brady, ladies. Can't have him. He won't be here.
Bring it, D.
Later. Have a good night.
See ya.